Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're at episode number 5 now. To quote Jabbit Boxing, cannot believe it's been 5 weeks already. No Punches Pulled is back, the real boxing talk show, and we've got a huge episode this week. 5 weeks here, Riyadh season, Wembley edition. Of course, I've got Liam Tully and Jay's Fight Talk with me. How are we, boys?
Tip top, excited, ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock and roll.
Absolutely buzzing, mate. I've just recorded Liam's Fight Night picks, which you'll all be able to see tomorrow. And yeah, I'm amped up and buzzing now. Can't wait to spend the next couple of hours with you boys. What's better on a Tuesday night?
Absolutely. Best time of the week. So yeah, hopefully we get some good interaction like we have done for the past 4 weeks. The three of us absolutely love doing this show. Best part about it, we all say every single time the interaction we get in the comments every week. So yeah, we're going to start obviously with Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois card. While we wait for the numbers to fill up in the chat, I think we'll maybe go on reverse order for the card. I'm not 100% sure on the full scheduling, but I know Chamberlain and Padley will take place first, Liam, if that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be Padley Chamberlain first from all accounts. It's the only 10-rounder on the card, so it makes sense. The first one. So
what are your thoughts then, boys? For me, it just looks like a bit of a knockover job for Turkey's favourite fighter.
Yeah. It's a gift. A gift for Chamberlain, but you know, as we know, we've seen this type of fight before. If he takes his eye off the ball and he's looking at Uncle Turkey's carrot that he's dangling, you know, it could be a banana skin.
Yeah.
The kid's no mug, even though I've just said it's a setup. What I mean is the levels of potential are in Chamberlain's favour, so he's expected to win. You know, out of all the fights of the night for myself, it's the one that's least competitive on paper. But obviously we know that, you know, you can rip that script up. We'll probably talk about it later on. But, you know, we saw Erislandy Lara stop Danny Garcia. Not stop him as such, but, you know, made him or his corner quit. Nobody expected that. You know, some people expected, I think Liam picked Garcia to win. So there are always times when, you know, shocks happen and stuff. But I would be very surprised if we don't see an easy win for Chamberlain in the curtain jerker.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the one thing for me, big thing is obviously we know Denis Barancic is being lined up for Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's happening.
That would have made my excitement for this card ever more if that fight had been made. Because if you look, other than
what about Noakes? You should have put Noakes in there. He only fought a couple of weeks ago.
Name. All the other fights have got something. There's either crossroads in terms of what direction a career takes, come win or loss. We've got world title implications. We've got world title fights. We've got grudge matches. You know, but the Chamberlain fight's sort of a damp squib for me. It's, you know, as we say, it's not a 50-50 fight on paper, and based on what, you know, I know about boxing, I would say that it's a layup as such by Uncle Turkey for a home win.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Big up, Jabs. Thanks for joining us, mate. Your ears must have been burning. Gave you a bit of paid a bit of homage too if you didn't catch it at the front, mate. But hope you're well, mate. Thanks for tuning in. You know, don't really want to cover Chamberlain and Padley too much, boys. I'm sure the chat aren't really here to get our thoughts on that either. So we'll big up Jack, absolute boss. Thanks for joining us, mate. I hope you're well, my friend. Great video on Joshua Dubois, mate, as well.
Don't listen to the haters, Jack.
Yeah, scrap the haters, Jack. Great video, mate, on Joshua Dubois. Watched it last night, mate. So yeah, we'll move upwards. In my opinion, I think the next fight up from Chamberlain Padley is going to be Josh Kelly against Ish Davis. So a bit of news on that one as well. Obviously, Liam Smith pulled out. I think it was due to some form of illness, if I'm right there, boys. Jabbit said I didn't catch it. Just kids' bedtime. It's all good. You're with us now, Jabs. That's all that matters. So yeah, Liam Smith's pulled out. Billy Nelson's thrown Lewis Crocker's name into the hat. Sam Jones has thrown Conor Walker's name into the hat. I'm sure there's other people that were in as well.
Billy tagged the wrong Crocker. He tagged
he tagged Lewis Crocker with
So, Lewis, you've got yourself a fight, son.
Yeah, Lewis Crocker with four followers or something he posted.
Yeah, he's got himself a fight on the world's biggest stage, poor lad.
Yeah, exactly. He's getting it at Wembley. But anyway, Ish Davis has got the fight. Undefeated, 13-06 KOs. Both fought Troy Williamson. Last time out, Ish fought him with a career best performance. Obviously, yeah, big up Troy. We love Troy on this channel. Always going to do a bit of Troy bias there. Let's read a few comments before I ask you boys what you think of the fight. Yeah, exactly. Big up Jack, legend. Thanks, lads. Appreciate all the support. Always got your back, Jack.
Always, man.
Always. Oh, hang on. Guys, this live or Restream's confusing with that in the corner.
It's a live, mate.
Yeah, we're live on Restream. That's right, Jams. Yeah, it's a new thing we're trialing for the week, mate. Big up, Jam, for joining us. So, Liam Tully,
office in the morning, Jams. I haven't forgot, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're all right, boys. No worries. This is about everyone in the chat just as much as it is us, boys. We know that anyway. So, yeah, we're always going to prioritize the chat. Josh Kelly versus Ish Davis. Then I'll start with you, Liam. What are your thoughts, mate?
Now I'm over the disappointment of the fact it's not Liam Smith and how fantastic that fight was going to be. It was down to be my fight of the night if I'm away from the main event, if I'm being honest.
Definitely the most fascinating fight, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the fight I was most excited for.
Yeah.
We go, first thing first, let's give props to Ishmael Davis. 8 days notice. He's got the call and he stepped in. Okay, he was scheduled to fight on the Castle Prograis card next month. Yeah. Down at 154, so he's probably already into a weight cut. So they're coming in at 160. He's probably thinking, lovely, don't have to lose the last bit of weight. But fair props to him because he's gone from a 10-rounder against an opponent given to him to win and give him a WBA continental belt, so a ranking or whatever it was, to a chance to fight in front of 96K at Wembley against Josh Kelly, who all the tricks, all the skills, everyone loves him, but still waiting to see him prove that he's a world-level fighter, aren't we? And that's what we were hoping to see against Josh. Okay, what we were hoping to see against Liam Smith. I suppose the question is, we won't get that question answered if he beats Ishmael Davis, because Ishmael Davis, as much as he's unbeaten, he's still not
untested.
I mean, he's untested, but it will be a big sign to show if this Adam Booth, Josh Kelly partnership's still working. They've stuck together through thick and thin. The draw he had at MSG, the loss to Messi, and he's never deterred from the path. Yeah, he's never deterred from the path, has he? But how much longer can he stay with? If it's still stale, if he's still looking the same, that is going through 12 rounds, boxing lovely, but never showing levels, never showing gears. Will he look to move away? Will he look to possibly join a Shane McGuigan, a Ben Davidson, who always seem to make their fighters more exciting? Or I'm not really sure with Josh. I like him, but when are we going to see him deliver? For me, he was odds on to be a world champion. Obviously, he's had to rebuild himself with Wasserman after being dropped by Matchroom. We all know that, but he's 30 now.
Exactly. Everyone's still looking at him as a prospect. I'm going to ask you this question, Jay. Martine has joined us. Thanks very much.
Hi, Martine.
Mrs. Liam Tully. Will Josh Kelly still be motivated by such a late change of opponent? And Jay's Fight Talk will throw that to you.
For me, no. He'll be motivated in the sense as any professional athlete has to motivate himself to a certain degree to get up and perform, whether that's a team sport or an individual sport. I've sort of flipped and flopped myself. I have a mutual friend of Ishmael Davis. I don't know him. I have interacted with him on social media. I don't know him by any shape, but we have got a mutual friend, somebody that I know. So sort of, as I say, we're sort of connected. Any box Troy who I know very well. But anyway, I've sort of flipped and flopped. When the fight was first announced, I did actually call for Troy to try and get it at 160, which Troy unfortunately is in camp towards October 19th, and I would use in the fact that he'd lost at 154 and it was a new weight, but Troy's on a different path. I mentioned Ishmael Davis. I think we spoke and I said Ishmael Davis could make the fight, not knowing anything, just suggested it. I did want to see the Lewis Crocker fight. Anyway, getting back
that was the fight, wasn't it, Crocker? But
that was the fight, but I don't think they want to take the risk. So what I think that they've seen Ishmael Davis, who hasn't shown that much, if I'm honest. Yes, he handily beat Troy. I'm not going to say he didn't. He outboxed him and he beat him, fairly convincingly. But we didn't see much in that. Troy didn't really box to the best of his abilities, and he was struggling at 154. So I think Ishmael Davis didn't get Troy at 100%. I'm not making any excuses for Troy. I'm just saying it how I saw it. So initially I thought, it's an easy win for Kelly. I thought he'll outpoint him, he'll dazzle him. I think I said the same to you guys. We had a conversation, and I said I thought that it'd be an easy win for him. I've changed my mind completely. I've gone back. I've watched every single Ishmael Davis fight again. In fact, I watched the last two at lunch today. First time I've watched the Troy fight back. I was still got a lump in my throat. But what I'm getting at is his boxing skill set is very underappreciated. And I'm going to use David Avanasian or even was it Sugar Ray that he lost? Who did he draw with? Ray Robinson.
Oh, well, Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson.
The sugar in you there, Robinson.
Ray Robinson. Yeah. Ray Robinson sort of pushes off with his jab, and then he'll look to sort of swing round and catch hooks to the body. And David Avanesian does that as well, where he's got this non-stop forward pressure. Josh Kelly is fantastic when he's allowed to do what he's allowed to do, which is switch hit, find his little space, get his rhythm, get his feet out of the way. When fighters follow him, not necessarily follow him, but follow him and then find angles to trap him and stop him escaping or pivoting off, he has a lot of trouble. David Avanesian, yeah, he was down a few rounds at one stage, but once he realised that Josh Kelly couldn't hurt him, it was just a matter of time. Ray Robinson, spoiled, held, grabbed, was very awkward and stayed behind a long-range jab. I think Ishmael Davis can win this fight, and I think he's going to win this fight, but he's got to make it dirty. And I am going to put my head on the chopping block to be taken down. I'm not backing him because he's from Leeds. I'm not backing him because we've got a mutual friend. I'm backing him on what the eye test. Repeating on what Sam said, Josh Kelly, this waiting for him to do this and do this and do that. He's 30 years old, right? He should have done this by now.
He still looks at like he's 24, 25.
Yeah, Josh does.
Josh Kelly.
What I'm talking about in boxing terms, Eddie Hearn does not drop anybody that's worth their salt to him. Dropped him like a hot stone, right? And he has struggled to get any form of decent fight. He only got the Troy fight because Troy was the British champion. You know, that fight wouldn't have been made otherwise. Nobody wanted to really fight him, not because they were scared, but he didn't offer much. He's really awkward. He's a flashy switcher, and on his day can make you look stupid. I think Ishmael Davis is going to win this fight for a number of contributing factors. I think Kelly's not going to be as motivated as he was to fight Liam, because I think that got him nervous.
He strikes me. That's a good point, Jay. He strikes me as somebody who could lose concentration easily. Josh Kelly.
You go.
That's what you got against Ray Robinson.
And I think
switch off.
You have to believe in yourself. I get that. But I think he is overlooking Ishmael Davis. I think he will. He'll say he's not, and Adam Booth will say he's not. Yeah, but ultimately, I think he will, because on paper, no disrespect. There's the first one of the night. No disrespect.
Yeah, the most disrespectful man in boxing history. I'm not, no disrespect, but I'm about to disrespect you.
Yeah, no disrespect, but I'm about to shit all over you. But no, on paper, Ishmael Davis shouldn't really beat Josh Kelly if we go on past, amateur experience and what they've done as professionals. But I think that Josh Kelly is. I saw a couple of bits from him the other day, and he was trying his best to sort of big it up, but you could see how dismissive he was of the fight.
He looked completely deflated.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the worst thing for him, motivating himself internally to get up to that extra. Because Ishmael Davis can go from opening bell to the end.
He's definitely in shape. Ish Davis
never slowed down.
Yeah, I'll come to you in a sec, Liam. I'm just going to read a couple of comments, mate. Jamson, I'm glad it's not Beef. He's lost a step. I think he has too. One of my favourite boxers, but I'm not too sure his heart's still in it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Something's not quite right with Beefy at the minute. Yeah, it should be fun. He said Troy would have been fun. We all echo that one. Jams, definitely. Yeah. Jabit said, great chance for Ish. Fair play stepping down 6 days notice. Yeah, big credit to him for that. It's a huge opportunity. I don't think anyone would have turned it down who was offered, but, much credit to Ishmael Davis. Absolutely.
Anybody else drops out, I'm just putting it out there. I will fight him heavyweight.
Yeah, Jay's Fight Talk will do it.
Jay's Fight Talk's ready.
I told everyone your name was in the hat last week. I put it in.
Listen, I was ready, mate. I took my trainers to work. I was ready to start camp at work, but unfortunately, Turkey didn't make the call.
Absolute Boxing, thank you very much. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Thank you. Jams has said, I'm going Davis too. Jay Kelly's ain't no prospect anymore. I think if the Black Panther can make this rough on the inside, he could take it. Jay's Fight Talk's got a backer in Jams.
Yes.
And then Jabit's backing them as well. Bang on, Jay and Jams.
Liam. Black Panther.
This is my thing as well. So Josh said in multiple interviews yesterday, I saw it on one this morning, he was on his way in for his last big technical session on Friday, on his way to the gym when he got the message saying that Liam Smith was out. I don't care what he says. I don't care if Uncle Turkey's promised him the biggest fight in the world if he gets through this. That would have hit him like a ton of shit across the head. He spent 10 years preparing for Liam Smith, an ex-world champion that's going to put some respect on his name as well, regardless of what point Liam Smith's at.
He needed it. He needed the Liam Smith.
He needed the name. Yeah, do you know what? They should have put David Avanesian in. He would have took it. I'm telling you, Neil Marsh would have put David Avanesian's name in the hat.
And this is the thing. So he's saying all the right things, but Liam Smith to Ishmael Davis, forget ability and talent for a second and where they've been. Two completely different styles. Liam Smith isn't necessarily going to look to make it rough and nasty on the inside. He isn't going to look to hold and spoil and make it, a kind of a bit of an eyesore of a fight to watch. But Ishmael Davis is definitely going to do that. And when Ray Robinson done it to him at MSG in the second half of that fight in 2019, Josh Kelly did not like it. He bitched and moaned and complained to the ref in his corner and holding the back of his head or throwing his arms up in the air. He spent the second half of that fight back in 2019 doing that. Now, the caveat, he's 6 years older now. He's got more experience. He's been through it before. So you would expect that he knows how to handle a fighter doing that to him. But at 6 days' notice, what's he going to, what can he change in his camp? He's still going to fight the same way, isn't he? Like Chance has just said, Ish is ready. He was meant to be fighting in a month's time. He doesn't have to do the last bit of his weight cut now, so he's probably absolutely loving life this week. Sonny Edwards said the same in the grand arrivals tonight. He's got a pep in his step because he's staying at a more comfortable weight from him instead of having to kill himself. It's gone from being a compelling fight because of the names associated with it to being a compelling fight because we're all questioning here, does Josh Kelly have the minerals for a proper rough and tumble dogfight on the inside? And I'm with you as well, Jay. I don't think he does. I don't think he's got the set of cojones and the minerals that if it gets tough, if he gets cut above his eye,
well, he hasn't shown us that yet. Obviously, the only time he's had it tough is the Avanesian fight where he didn't want it anymore, did he? Sure. To be honest, Horkan's given us some big up Horkan just to veer off Wembley for 2 seconds. Breaking news: Bam Rodriguez set to defend WBC and Ring 115-pound world titles on November the 9th in Philly. Take it, that's probably a co-headliner with Jaron Ennis then. I'd imagine Eddie said that his announcement will be imminent. It could be Ennis against Karen. And then Jam said any opponent named for BAM. WBC have announced the date. And then Pedro Guevara, Horkan says. So, we'll keep an eye out for that. Cheers, Horkan, for letting us know about that one. Anything more on PBK against Ish, or should we move forward to Joshua Buatsi against Willie Hutchinson? I think we said the card, boys, that's really got a bit of edge to it so far. AJ and Dubois had the little thing in the build-up, didn't they? But it's been quite jovial since then. Willie Hutchinson and Joshua Buatsi, they've been going at it. Them boys do not like each other. It's in a good side to Buatsi here. I think he's going to come in with a bit of spite. I think he's going to try and get his first stoppage win in 3 years against Willie Hutchinson, but cannot wait for this one, boys. What a scrap.
No, I completely agree with you. And we just asked a question about Josh Kelly. I'm now going to make a similar statement about Buatsi. 2016 Olympic bronze medalist, turned pro to all the fanfare that an Olympic medalist gets. And because he had the skills and the potential as well, we're now 2024, so we're 8 years on from that Olympic Games. He's 18-0, okay, but he's moved to boxer. He was in unattractive fights before the split with Matchroom during the pandemic period. Buatsi's another fighter. When are we going to see the world title?
It's not a prospect.
This is his stage now, Lim. He has to perform on Saturday night. He has to.
Absolutely, because this is for the WBO interim title. We all know what we think about interim belts here, but for a bit of back context for people that might not know watching this, Peterbiev and Bivol have their unification fight next month. At least one of the governing bodies is going to decide if there's a rematch. Oh, no. We don't.
I think they've got a rematch clause as well, similar to Fury and Usyk. I think there's a rematch clause.
They won't want to see the same fighters fight again. If the WBO belt becomes vacant, Buatsi, if he wins this fight, will then by email become a world champion. So he's got to show that he's got something in him to be a world champion. You're right. This is his stage. If we're honest, Willie Hutchinson, before his last performance, hasn't done anything or beaten anyone of any real note.
Looks better at 175. Willie Hutchinson, in fairness to him, he got stopped by Lennox Clark at 168. He did look terrible at the weight, to be fair, but he's got a decent amateur pedigree. He boxed well against Spider last time out, but for me, he did fade a little bit down the stretch. Spider looked poor, if we're being honest as well, on the 5 versus 5. I think it's a big ask for Willie Hutchinson at the weekend. I don't think he'll win, if I'm being honest with you. We'll come back to who we think will win and stuff at the end. But Jam's asked the question. Actually, do you know what? Maybe we'll get into it, but we'll do a roundup towards the end of it. Obviously, Liam shows tomorrow, so he can't answer. Me and Jay will answer. I think Boatsi will stop him. Jams, I do. I think he'll come out with a bit of spite. I think he'll come on the front foot, and I think he'll take him out. I honestly do. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, initially I didn't like. Sorry, you'll have to excuse me. Brought me competition. My football team are losing, but never mind. I didn't like what I saw from Boatsi. It were like he was Boatsi. I know he's took a disliking to him, but it were like he had it in him to dislike him. And when they did the face off, it were like he was looking for a reason to start an argument. It seemed a bit forced for me. Because he wasn't really disrespecting him. And he said, "Oh, you disrespecting me. If you disrespect me again, I'm going to stand up." Willie Hutchinson, it's like red rag to a bull. So he called him a fool. If you disrespect me again, I'm not going to let you disrespect me. So he disrespected him again. And it was a bit of a sort of a pantomime. And then he wouldn't shake his hand and he shook his hand.
I grabbed him by the neck and all that, didn't he?
Yeah, and it was a bit pathetic for me now. But I do think, similar to you, that Boatsi is going to come in there with a little bit more spite. I don't think he'll fight on emotion because I think he's too professional for that. But I think he will go out there. And again, I'm going to say something that's probably a bit out there. I think Joshua Boatsi will make it look easy.
Yeah,
I think he'll make it look easy. I think he'll smash him to pieces. I think Willie Hutchinson might box his head off for 2 rounds. But I think once he realises that he can, block and step in, I think he'll just smother him, and I do see Boatsi stopping him inside 6 to 7 rounds.
What do you think about this, Liam? Sorry, mate. Give your thoughts first on the fight.
Yeah, for me, this is the main event. I'll keep my prediction for people to see tomorrow. But this fight, I'm quite happy to say, I believe Willie's mouth is writing checks that he's not going to be able to cash in the ring on Saturday night, and I'm with Jay. Boatsi is fighting. He's not fighting on emotion. He's professional. He'll go out there, but he'll go out there spiteful, and he'll want to punch through Willie Hutchinson. He'll want to show him, you think you can do all this chat? You want to do all this chat? You want to do this? You want to do that? He's going to put a statement on. I think it'll be his first stoppage since 2021. Yeah. In terms of this comment, rumors, Benavidez. Look, Benavidez, he's moved up to 175. Sorry, he's moved up for big fights, hasn't he? But I still think it's too soon for him against either Bivol or Beterbiev. He's still green enough that these 2 fighters that are fighting this unification fight should have enough to old man him. No disrespect to Beterbiev. They will old man him. They will make it look like we talk about Boatsi doing. They will make it look easy against Beterbiev. He's the next wave coming through. Now, Joshua Boatsi against Beterbiev. Yes, please sign me up. I will happily see that fight. That is a very interesting fight. But no, not for me. Bivol or Beterbiev will play with Benavidez.
They walk through him. They smash him in. I mean, he's all right. I say all right. Being disrespectful again. Surprise, surprise.
Here we go.
What I'm saying is, yes, he's a world champion and he's sort of above most of the world level. But there's another level, and there's not many people get to that elite level. We've got a handful of elite fighters, really, haven't we? Maybe 10 in the world. The Crawfords, the Inoues, the Usyks. And I believe that Bivol and Beterbiev are both up there.
Oh, they are. They are, for sure.
I watched a video last night in bed, couldn't sleep, randomly, and it was a training footage of Bivol. And I know it was in an open, empty hall, but his jab, when it hits the heavy bag, is fucking unreal. I've never heard a noise like it.
Such a good match. I've changed my prediction 4 times on Beterbiev Bivol. I've changed it. I've gone Beterbiev at the start, back to Bivol, then to Beterbiev, now back to Bivol. I've literally just
changed. You're back on the Bivol train again.
I'm back on the Bivol train. This time last week, I was Beterbiev by stoppage. I'm back on Bivol now. It's because all these highlights were getting shown in the Canelo fight week. It's recency bias.
I'm bringing this back. Do you know what? I watched the Canelo match again a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot how easy he made it look.
He did.
He made it look really bloody easy, didn't it?
And I think bringing this back around to Benavidez quickly, it comes back to the conversation we were having last week in relation to Canelo. Canelo is that next level above world championship. Benavidez may get there in time and become a greatest of all time for his generation, but he's not there yet. And does he really want to go in there against Beterbiev or Bivol and have all his confidence potentially destroyed?
Unless he gets enough, it'll be for that. He might get enough to walk off in at sunset, a bit like Ruiz did against Joshua. I know we've seen him since. But he basically said after that, I don't need to fight again.
His future secured.
I think the way to look at it for me is if he goes down to 168 to fight Canelo and loses, he's got the excuse, well, I was done at 168. I only came down for the Canelo fight. I'm going to go back to 175.
He hasn't got that excuse, has he, up there?
He runs out of excuses, and I reckon it could have going old school here, a Jeff Lacey effect on him. Once Kawasaki beat him, he may never be the same fighter again. All that confidence, I'm not saying he's as brash and as cocky as Lacey by any stretch of the imagination, but confidence-wise, if he loses, I think it'll be very hard for him to climb that mountain again at 175.
Yeah. Benavidez will get knocked out. We'll move back to Wembley after this one, but we'll go Denny thingy. But I think Benavidez will get knocked out to ever happen. Bivol, UD, definitely jams. Luca's joined us. Big up, Luca. Hope you're well, mate.
Yes, Luca.
Beterbiev hadn't had that injury. I'd have been backing him, but can't help but think that's what I said. Yeah, I think that's the common thinking, I think, right now. But we'll go European Middleweight Championship. Tyler Denny from the small halls to 96,000 at Wembley. Absolutely love that story. Massive big up to Tyler Denny. But he's up against it here. Hamza Shiraz, that orthodox, left-handed orthodox fighter. His jab is just like an absolute piston down the middle. Every fighter, Amo Williams last time out, really struggled with it. He nearly knocked Liam Williams, unconscious with a jab when he took him out in the first round. He's gone from strength to strength since moving up from 154 to 160 as Hamza Shiraz. But Denny, big career best win over Felix Cash last time out. He's got big wins over Brad Pauls as well. He's took some good undefeated records, Denny, along the way. But is this one a step too far, Liam?
I think before we get into that, just to say it's been confirmed today, you may not have seen it, the Commonwealth middleweight titles on the line for this fight as well. So Shiraz was Commonwealth champion. He gave up the belt for the Amo Williams fight. They've put that belt back on the line for this fight. So come out today, another strap. I know Shiraz is beyond this level, but in terms of the Tyler Denny story, for me, how long can he ride this crest of a wave of how fantastic his career is going?
Possibly a step too far for this one.
He's gone from Civic Hall to Birmingham NEC Arena or Resorts World.
Unbelievable story.
But that can only take you so far. For me, Hamza Shiraz is a world champion in weighting.
He's born for it. Hamza.
Yep. We know.
We'll find out, won't we? We will find out because Denny will ask questions of him.
Of course he will. We know Carlos Adames is being lined up for Hamza Shiraz for the WBC belt. If and when he comes through this fight, he's number one ranked. He's WBC silver champion. My only question with Hamza Shiraz is he's 6'3". He is flipping huge for middleweight. And fighters have to make a weight cut all the time, and we know they leave a piece of themselves with each weight cut. We hear stories of it time and time again. How much longer can Hamza keep boiling that frame down to 160?
I don't know how he made 154. I just do not know how he made one.
Am I right in thinking Bradley Skeet?
Yeah, he went life and death with Bradley Skeet at 154.
That was a controversial ending as well.
Didn't he smack him when he were on the floor?
He got ruled. Yeah, it was controversial. Yeah, but anyway, that was his last fight at 154.
Bradley Skeet's a career welterweight. Yeah, he's a lot better fundamentals than Tyler Denny. Tyler Denny's style's a bit more raw. Bradley Skeet had crisp boxing skills, didn't he? But there is a way to beat Hamza Shiraz, but he's not boiled down now, is he? He will still be considerably boiled down.
He looks so much better. He looks a different fighter.
Once he's hydrated, I think he's going to be too big for Denny, and I think he's just going to be too
too long, you know, too accurate. He doesn't waste anything, Hamza. Like, you watch that Austin Ammo Williams fight back last time out, he does not waste a single shot. Even when Williams was flagging and he was knackered because he put so much into the early rounds, Ammo, Hamza he was so patient, and then eventually just broke him down and stopped him late. It was such a systematic beat.
He did get wobbled himself, though.
He did in the second round. Hawkan said, big up Tyler Denny. Just a few comments, Liam, before you, mate. Jam said, love the story, but this could be over a round or two. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. Hamza KO, love for Denny. I absolutely love Tyler Denny. Almost 6 years undefeated, yet some story. DJ Patch joined us. Thanks, Pat, for tuning in. Hamza all the way. This is a step too much for Tyler Denny. Jam said Liverpool and England has been selected to host City for the inaugural Boxing World Championship. Saw that earlier. That's brilliant. Next year. Denny is a good fighter, but just cannot see how he takes a W against Hamza, Pat says. Jam says, will enough top-level boxers join this inaugural league? If so, we could have Canelo, Bivol, AJ Fury, etc. I doubt it, but we'll see. Yeah, doubt it, but you never know, Jam.
Liam, itself, isn't it, boys? That Turkey Super Fight League, isn't it? We could get out about. In terms of this fight, without giving too much away, because I obviously would need everyone to love everyone to come over and view my video tomorrow.
Don't give anything away.
One of my big things in this fight is
I'll give his picks away when we've finished.
Will Tyler Denny be able to cope? Will Hamza Shiraz just completely overwhelm him? Is it going to be a fact of he may knock him down? I believe Tyler will get back up if he's knocked down. But at what point is Tyler possibly likely to say, leave me alone? I've had enough.
Yeah.
Kind of a no-mass, like Loma went through that phase of no-massing everyone, didn't he?
I think they'll pull him out. I don't think he'll do that. I think they'd have to pull him out. I think he's that kind of guy, I think.
Yeah, no, it's just a question, isn't it? I mean, this is, if you said to Tyler Denny this time last year, because he hadn't even had the European title shot announced, you're going to fight at Wembley in front of 96,000 people, you'll be the European champion, and if you win it, you're number one with a WBC, he would have asked you what sort of trip you're on and if he could have any. He would not have expected this in his wildest dreams. But as all the comments are coming in, fair play to Tyler Denny. It is a fantastic story. He is probably, I don't care about this being controversial, he's probably boxer's biggest success story since they came in. Before he was having fighting, I was looking for his record for today. He was fighting in leisure centres, not getting any TV coverage. He moves to boxer, starts, and now he's on this Indian summer, isn't he, of his career? I mean, he's only got one KO in his career, so we're not expecting him to have the power to
watch now. I'm gonna back Denny KO. Boxer now.
You know, he's probably Ben Shalom on boxer's biggest success story, and if he does get his name up in lights on Saturday night, what a story that will be. You know, that'll be one of the feel-good stories in world boxing, not just British boxing this year, but yes,
I'd love to see it. I mean, I've got nothing against Hamza.
No.
But, you know, he's sort of the poster boy. He's had the bright lines, the headlines from turning over. Tyler Denny is a success story just by pure grit, determination, and winning against adversity. When the fights he won, he wasn't really touted to win.
B-side fighter, he's coming.
He was a B-side fighter, so
I
love to see success stories like that. I'd love nothing better than him to win, because Hamza's also young enough to come again. I think Tyler Denny's, a bit older than him, is he?
Tyler Denny's like 30s, I want to say.
33, Tyler Denny.
Early 20s, isn't he?
25, Hamza.
So Hamza can come again. You know, he's got a massive promotion behind him. Tyler Denny's been brought in as an opponent. I know he's one of their fighters as well, and he's a European
champion. He wasn't at the time, though. He's a B-side fighter brought into...
But let's be real. He's been brought in here against an opponent. Because on paper, it's not a mismatch, but it's... Hamza Shiraz is expected to win that fight. But, I wouldn't be surprised, especially now Liam's just highlighted the fact that he's only got one KO on his record. Tyler Denny might, is Hamza Shiraz going to box not as weary as of what's coming back? And, could Denny catch him, without him expecting it and cause an upset? I don't see it myself. I just don't think his skill set's as good as Hamza's in terms of, I think Hamza could keep him at range and pick him off, a bit like he did with Ammo once he got over the initial shock of the knockdown and got his timing and his range and stuff. He made it look pretty easy, didn't he, once he sort of turned it up a notch. And I think we might see something similar. I think Denny might be in the fight for for the early part of it, but I think once Hamza finds his range, I think he should be able to take over. And yeah, I think I see a stoppage through maybe a culmination of a punishment.
I'll say one more thing on this without giving a prediction away. We all know that Tyler Denny got told about this fight on 48 hours notice, and that's for one reason. Felix Cash had done everything apart from sign on the dotted line for this fight, because everyone, if we're being honest, expected Felix Cash to beat Tyler Denny. That was how it was being set up. This should have been Felix Cash against Hamza Shiraz. Denny rips out that script, and now he's got the opportunity himself. So, you know, he's here on merit in terms of what he's done in his last 2 performances, but he's not. I'll be careful what I say. He's probably not the caliber of fighter that even Turkey wanted to see on this Wembley card. He's perhaps a lesser name than he would have wanted.
He wanted Eubank Jr., didn't he? That was always talked about for ages. And then
Hamza's a Riyadh season ambassador, so he's going to get Uncle Turkey preferential treatment.
Be on all the cards.
So he would have fought anyway. But yeah, definitely Felix Cash would have been a bigger name with a bit more behind it than Tyler Denny, despite everything Tyler's done in recent times.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We'll move on. Right, Liverpool have equalised. We know that. Jam and Jason are having a bit of a party. So,
Hamza Shiraz.
Yeah,
I would be expressing my excitement. Can I just say, Liam, I've got to respect you for bringing the word flipping back to the table, mate. It's not a word I've heard used since my nan was alive. But yeah, good on you, mate.
I'm very
Doctor's getting kicked off YouTube,
mate. I'm very conscious of Sam keeping this baby rolling with the channel. So
yeah, man.
Limited
I
to 2 or 3
say
squares of video.
flipping.
Could have had plenty by now.
If anyone says fiddlesticks, I'm logging out.
I'm getting you just set me up.
What do you guys think of Anto versus Warrington not being for the IBF title? It's for the IBO title.
Permission to run on this?
If the IBF won't sanction Warrington as an opponent, then why does Kakachi lose the title? If he loses, the belt should not be. It should not be in discussion for me.
I couldn't do it because of time on my own show. I'm more than ready to have a rant on this. So, news came out to us yesterday, timeline for people that might not know, that the IBF won't sanction Anthony Kakachi against Josh Warrington. Completely understandable. Josh Warrington is 1 win, 3 losses, and 1 technical draw in his last 5 fights. He's not there to fight for a world title if you go off of his last 5 fights. However, the fighters and Eddie and Queensberry found out about this at the beginning of August. Josh apparently thought, Eddie told me he'd get it sorted. In other words, he thought a couple of brown envelopes would...
right. I didn't know that part. So this has been common knowledge for them for a while.
Fighters have known pretty much the whole training camp.
Okay.
But my frustration with this and where I'm going to rant comes down to, I agree with Jay. Anthony Kakachi has probably been told, look, you can move out of this fight and you can fight someone in the top 15. Forget about Josh Warrington. Fight someone in the top 15 and it will still be for your IBF world title. Or if you go ahead with this fight, you're going to be stripped to your belt. I'm sorry, hold on a minute. Just because you as a governing body have decided that you want to follow your rules for a change, and what's top 15, that when it doesn't work for you, you're happy to ignore and let anyone fight anyone.
Yeah.
What, you want to be seen to be doing the right and proper thing. Kakachi fulfilled a dream of a lifetime, as he said in the ring against Cordina, by becoming world champion. And now what should be his first defense in the UK, I think I've seen something like he sold close to 8,000 tickets to people coming over from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Now doesn't get the world title. Okay, IBO fans, that belt is on the line. There is still a world championship.
Eubank Jr. will be in the front row with his belt.
We're going to have to get it off him. I think he's got the only one in existence, hasn't he?
Just finishing off on my rant. Governing bodies, like we got a comment here from Jams. We saw it last weekend with Lara and Garcia. One, that fight was moved to a 157 catch weight. And secondly, they allow Garcia, who's not fought in 18 months and never fought at 160, to fight for a world title. But now this week, the IBF decide they want to play high and mighty.
There's no consistency. There's
none. I got slaughtered on X last week because I said that Warrington didn't deserve the shot. And I didn't mean...
I agree with you, mate.
No, he doesn't. Let's be real, he doesn't.
Well, he's not won a fight in how many years? And
last week was Kiko Martinez.
He's not even ranked in this division. And being a former world champion doesn't get you that far 5 years after. Being a world champion is when you
in the weight division above.
Yeah, do you want to know what Eddie Hearn said yesterday in an interview with the Stomping Ground with Josh Warrington? He said Josh Warrington went 7 rounds with Lee Wood and he was on top against the best fighter at 126 pounds before he got stopped. That's deserving of a world title fight.
Right. Okay, then. Right. All right. Well,
So being chinned in 7 rounds means that you're deserving of a world title shot?
Absolutely nonsense. I nearly won the lottery last week. I
mean, that was his quote. That was his genuine quote.
Does that make me eligible to just get £1 million from him then this week? I nearly got there last week.
That's like me saying It's like me saying I had a dream last night. I lasted 4 rounds with Anthony Joshua, so that means I deserve a heavyweight championship.
That means I beat Daniel Dubois.
I think you'd take him.
You know what? I'm just around his ankles, so just nut shots.
Ankle picking. For me,
go on.
Josh Warrington's local to me. My brother used to train under his father, so I know him. Do you know what I mean? And if anybody's going to back him, it'd be me. But he doesn't deserve that. As Jams is saying, he's lost 4 of his last 5 fights.
He's lost 3. One was a draw against Lara Jams. So it's
but he's been flipping knocked out. Yep, used it again. He's been knocked out 3 times. Whether you say he was toe-to-toe with Lee Wood or not, he got chinned. He left that fight nearly on a stretcher. He doesn't deserve it. But the frustrating thing for me is the way the IBF go. The strict Fury, because he wouldn't defend when he was already mandated to box Usyk. They've stripped Usyk to give Joshua and Dubois something to fight for. The IBF should have said, we're not sanctioning this fight because whatever reasons, whatever justification they want, the sky's not blue today, the clouds, because that's what governing bodies do, right? To be fair, I'm surprised they didn't just go for the percentage like they normally do. But all right, they've gone with reality. He's undeserving, former world champion or not, and he's not ranked, so he's undeserving. But Kakachi, the belt's not up, so he should not be stripped, win, lose, or draw. He should, whatever happened, when he leaves that ring on Saturday night, whether he's won, he's lost, or the fight's being drawn, he should still remain as the IBF world champion. It stinks. It's disgusting. It's like they've got a bee in the bonnet, and they're punishing Kakachi for it.
And do you know what? Just before you come into my head, sorry, Liam. Do you know what should have really happened? Sugar Nunes fought on the undercard of Diego Pacheco 2 weeks ago. If this was always going to be the case, it should have just been Sugar Nunes against Kakachi, but they paid the step aside for Warrington because he's going to bring probably 10,000, 15,000 down from Leeds, and they want the attendance record. That's the only reason Warrington's in the ring.
You cannot tell me that they did. The promoters did not know about this weeks ago.
They knew at the start of August. They knew
of course they did, so they shouldn't have made the fight. For me, do you know what I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for Kakachi because if he wasn't getting life-changing money and he'd not sold 8,000 tickets, he should have just said, I ain't fighting. I'm not losing my belt for nothing unless I get beat by the better man defending my belt. If some freak, just say there's a freak, and Josh Warrington knocks him out, right? Not only does he get knocked out, he loses his belt against somebody that shouldn't have been fighting for that belt. Well, who isn't fighting for that belt anyway?
Love it. Sorry, Jay, Jams comment.
Yeah, that's a great comment by Jams. He said when we're talking about before, when I said Eddie Hearn said that Warrington gets a shot, I said Frank Martin should get a world title shot because he was...
Forget that. Rowley beat Tank on that basis. Rowley should be the lightweight champion of the world.
Yeah. I don't know why Hearn said that, to be fair, but Jams has said facts. Yeah, absolutely. Jay's Fight Talk spitting the facts as always.
Thank you.
Anything else on Kakachi Warrington? Should we actually talk about the fight? We've only really covered it. We've only actually. I've just realised we've just gone on a 10-minute rant.
Boys,
listen. If Josh Warrington's got much left, which he's telling us he has, right, and we have to believe him at that, then it's a great fight because Josh Warrington is all action, come forward. I've got to admit I've been wrong about him before. I thought Carl Frampton had walked through him and he proved me wrong. I thought Lee Selby had boxed his ears off. Great fight. If Josh Warrington turns up, yes, we have got an absolute barnstormer. It could steal fight of the night. Unfortunately, I don't believe that Josh Warrington is half the fighter he was 3 or 4 years ago. I think he's peaked. I think this is a step too far for him. I think Kakachi's found his groove. and he's very underappreciated and underrated.
Oh, he is. Kakachi's had a lot of issues with injuries over the years, and he finally got his opportunity at 35 against Joe Cordina, took it with both hands. But as you say, Jay, I think the pattern of the fight could look very similar to the Lee Wood fight. Warrington could maybe get on top early with his volume and his pressure, but similar to Lee Wood, Kakachi has the power in his hands. Like, it just one shot could change the course of this fight. I'm not convinced Josh Warrington's chin is what it was when he fought Carl Frampton, when he fought people like that. And, even Lara took a lot from him in that the first defeat where he cleaned him out. I think he took it took his soul that night, I think, and he's not looked the same fighter since.
I agree. Can I just apologise for anybody that saw Liam's bare legs there? I'd like to apologise for that. I do apologise.
People are staring at your bald head every time we do a live. If you want to bring the legs out, we'll go somewhere else. No, but moving on.
Mate, that's my crystal ball.
Right, I've lost my friend now. Oh, no. In terms of my prediction for this fight, you're going to tune into Liam's Fight Night picks for that. I'm not going to say anything on it, but I will say this. Everyone's talking about Kakachi's power. Now, don't get me wrong. He absolutely iced Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina was
Dylan, piss off. Sorry.
Joe Cordina was saved by the referee from probably ending that fight on his back. However, that was Kakachi's first knockout victory since 2015. 9 fights before Joe Cordina was his last knockout.
You know what? I think Kakachi's been injured a lot, and he's had a lot going on outside of the ring as well. I think we finally saw 100% Anthony Kakachi against Joe Cordina, but it's an interesting theory, Liam. I
think that comment up, Rod Brown. Get it up. Let me address that now. What are you on about?
Hang on. Let me read Pat's first, and then we'll go.
Yeah. I can't get on to this one, actually. I'm in for this.
If Kakachi wins, then it'll be Sugar Nunes he has to face, definitely. Sugar Nunes, completely different fighter than Kakachi. Yeah, I think Sugar Nunes is the man. I think he beats them all.
Absolutely.
Dylan says Dubois, second round TKO. Heard it here first.
But you didn't hear it first, did you, Dylan?
You've been talking in the office again,
this afternoon.
I heard it from Jay's Fight Talk. And then Rod Brown. Thanks, Rod Brown, for tuning in. I just want to see that lying fake Martin Bacoli prove he can't fight.
Me first, please.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Rod Brown, on what basis can you call Martin Bacoli a fake and a liar? He's boxed anybody and everybody. He's called out anybody and everybody. Apparently, he's knocked everybody out in sparring. I can't say that that's true or untrue.
Mate, Billy Nelson told me chin Usyk in sparring.
Well, there you go. If Billy said
Billy said it,
then it's gospel truth. But
he's the undisputed sparring champion of the world.
He made the greatest American prospect of this generation, allegedly, not said by me, but Jaron Anderson was destined for great things, not just from America. Eddie Hearn was saying it as well. He played with him like they were in different weight divisions. Martin Bacoli is one of the best heavyweights of this current crop. I'm telling you now, he is the king and the champion of the Who Needs Him club. Nobody will fight him unless they have to.
Jay, do you want to know a fact? Martin Bacoli's 2 years older than Josh Kelly.
There you go.
Right. And just
prospect. Right. He's a prospect.
He's a baby. He's still got plenty of time. But addressing this as well, what more could Martin Bacoli have done for you, Rod?
Can't do anything more. He's called out everybody for the last 5 years.
He's called out everyone and been avoided. Eddie Hearn won't mention Martin Bacoli's name. When AJ had 3 belts, Eddie Hearn ended interviews.
Eddie Nelson told us, Liam, didn't he? Said that they asked for it in Africa.
That's what I was about to say. And then Billy confirmed it to us. He then went, like Jay said, probably the best chance America had of getting a heavyweight champion in the next 5-6 years, Jared Anderson, and completely dominated him.
Smashed him to bits.
3 of us watched that fight, and we all messaged each other after the fight going, flipping hell, that's some statement. Regardless of what we think of Jared Anderson, you can only say that it's a statement because of what we were being told before the fights.
Yeah.
If Bacoli was a hype train that was just bigged up by Billy Nelson,
he'd have got chinned.
Yeah, it would have been the other way round.
Billy Nelson has regularly put his reputation on the line.
Yeah, he does.
Martin Bacoli. Billy Nelson, regardless of what you think of him in terms of he loves a bit of needle, right? He's one of the most well-respected boxing trainers of the last 25, 30 years.
100%. Right? Constantly churns out world champions.
Billy Nelson would not waste his time, right, on somebody that he didn't believe in. I'm not saying he hasn't trained people that don't become world champions. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is he regularly goes to bat for Martin Bakole. He regularly risks ridicule. He risked ridicule with the Anderson fight. There weren't many of us outside us lot that picked Bakole to beat him. A lot of people thought Bakole, he'll get found out.
No one in America thought Bakole would win.
They said he was going to get found out. Oh, he's a fraud. Like our mate Mr. Brown said, he's going to get this, he's going to get that. Martin Bakole is the real deal, mate. Let me tell you, Martin Bakole is the real deal. You need to get to know, because he ain't playing games, mate. There's a reason why no one will fight him.
Yeah, rocked AJ in sparring 2, dropped Dillian White, rocked Usyk, KO'd the new big baby, mate. I'm telling you, you do not want to spar with Martin Bakole.
Sorry.
Bakole did what he had to in LA, smashed him out the ring. Anderson will be in big fights, but yeah, 100%. Zhang next for me. Big up Wayne Herman.
I think so, but I think Frank Warren's going to say that he's potentially up against these guys.
Sorry, Warren Frank has given Bakole his dues for that Jared Anderson performance. He's open. Yeah, but
you can't not.
You can't not. Yeah. But look, I think my only rant tonight was going to be on the IBF situation. Kakashi and Warren.
Unfortunately, we've got another one coming.
Unfortunately, we got another one. Look, you can clip us up here, Rod, and we can be made to look like Muppets in a couple of years' time. But Martin Bakole will hold at least one. That's the key word here. At least one version of the heavyweight title. He will. It doesn't matter how he gets it, but he will get one version.
In 3 years' time, Liam, I go as far to say I'd nearly guarantee Martin Bakole in 3 years' time. Usyk won't be here, Fury won't be here, AJ won't be here. It's going to be Dubois, Cabiel, Joseph Parker, Martin Bakole, Jared Anderson. You know, these are all the fighters that are it's going to be a lot easier to win a heavyweight world championship in about 18 to 24 months' time than it is right now this second. And they're the fighters that are all going to capitalize on that momentum. Big up, Wayne. Thanks for tuning in as always, my man. There's a reason why Bakole avoided big and dangerous. Absolutely. Jam said Billy had Bakole live with him and his family too. Trusted him that much. Yeah, absolutely.
What people don't. Sorry to cut you, but a lot of people don't know as well. He's boxed for years. His brother's a former world champion. His brother is it Makabu, his brother?
Yeah, Ilunga Makabu.
His brother's Makabu. He's not just some random fat guy that's turned up at Billy's gym. This kid's been boxing all his life. You just don't know about him, right? People within boxing, I've known about Martin Bakole for 10 years. People have never wanted to fight him. He was one of the best paid sparring partners at one point because it's the only work he could get. And if you listen to Billy, then they've all struggled with him. And none of them will admit getting beat up by him, like Billy says, knocking them spark dead. But not one of them calls his name in vain. Have you ever heard one of these top heavyweights call Martin Bakole's name in vain? He's like Candyman. They're terrified of calling him out.
I'm just going to say 3 names, and then that's the last thing I want to say about this because it's going to be meant to be a happy show celebrating this Wembley card. Carlos Takam, Tony Yoka out in Paris, and now Jared Anderson. Those are his last 3 victims, and he's absolutely smoked the boots off of everyone. Yeah. Rod, what more would you like to see improve than beating other prospects that he's put in?
There's no more he can do.
He will get a world title shot at some point.
Yeah, well, he's going to prove it because he's going to fight Zhang, isn't he? Let's be honest. That fight's going to happen next. Gilles Zhang versus Martin Bakole, and then we're going to see everything. Well, the winner's nailed on for a world title fight. Zhang and
They'll
Bakole.
Probably strip Usyk or Fury of the WBC at this rate.
Nah. It'll be I think Usyk retires. I think Usyk retires after a rematch.
I think Usyk retires, win, lose or draw in the rematch. I agree with that, Liv. Jam said his brother Sirhan Dai from Ohio was a fan of Anderson, and even he admits Bakole smoked him. Shows his true worth. Big up Sirhan Dai in Jam's Boxing Hour every Thursday, 5 p.m. on Boxing Media Hub. Great show as well. Make sure you check that out. But yeah, agree with that. Anyway, we're going to move on from Bakole because we're going to go to the main event now. We've got some good numbers tuning in, so we're going to go right now to Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. It's for Daniel Dubois' IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World, believe it or not. Wayne said, having that, no one calls his name. You're right, Wayne, absolutely. Just quickly finishing up, Bakole smoked Zhang inside 5 for me. I agree with that, Jam. I think Bakole wins that one. But yeah, Joshua Dubois, Saturday night, main event, Riyadh season, Wembley edition. Dubois' IBF heavyweight championship. Joshua bidding to become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world to go alongside a lot of the greats in the heavyweight division of boxing. Whether you agree it should be for the IBF, I'm in the Carl Froch camp. I do not believe it should be for the IBF. I think Fury Usyk should be for Undisputed, the rematch. But anyway, it's happening. It's here, boys. Cannot wait for it. What a main event. Regardless of the title situation, it's a compelling main event. It's a great matchup. It's, 2 UK fighters headlining at a record crowd in front of Wembley. What more could you ask for, really?
No, you couldn't. I mean, this is what I remember. I'm old enough to remember Lewis and Bruno, and I remember the hype surrounding 2 British fighters. I think they boxed in Wales, if I remember right.
Manchester, Old Trafford, wasn't it?
Bruno Lewis.
Who am I thinking of? No, sorry, I'm thinking of a different Bruno fight. Ignore me.
You weren't even born, mate.
Hey, I'm showing how much of a nerd I am for
mind your flipping business. But I think it was in Wales. But yeah, I remember the excitement. Now, I don't feel that now. Times are different, and but it's a big deal, man. Massive deal. This.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple more tuning in and joining us. Rod said, thanks, guys. Next opponent will be interesting. Jabit said, same here, Jams, I believe Bakoli does Zhang. Mr. Neutral joined us. Big up, Mr. Neutral. Bakoli Zhang not 100 yet. In the immortal words of Yoda, there is another. Yet big up, Neutral. iBoxing. Go and subscribe.
I don't believe Bakoli struggles until he boxes the likes of Fury or Usyk. I think they are the only 2 people that would give him trouble, and that is because they can both box on the back.
Even
foot.
Billy said that Tyson Fury would give him nightmares. He said that
because of his range and he's tall. But do you know what? People forget. They look at Bakoli's belly and his sluggish demeanor. Do you know how fast his hands are? His hands are lightning fast for a big dude. He don't get beat for me. If Usyk and Fury go out on their, white horses into the sunset after this fight, my man will clean up. He'll smash AJ to bits. That fight's not even close for me.
Yeah.
Smash him to pieces.
Going back to this fight, firstly, completely in the camp with you, Sam. The IBF belt is irrelevant to this fight.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it goes back to what we talked about earlier with Kakashi Warrington. The IBF had pretty much said before the unification fight, the undisputed fight, that they were stripping whoever won it, regardless of if it was Usyk or Fury. When Fury won the belt against Klitschko back in 2015, all of a sudden he was getting stripped. Klitschko never heard about an IBF mandatory, but 2 weeks after the fight, before all the Fury problems, he was already stripped of the IBF belt. That's how we ended up with Charles Martin walking this earth like a god and AJ. It just showed the farcical nature of the IBF again. The belt doesn't matter. This is the 2 best British heavyweights outside of Tyson Fury going at it to show.
Is it number 3 versus number 4 in the world?
Number 2 versus number 4, according to. Oh no, that's British. Yeah, in the world it is. Yeah, British.
Obviously, Fury and Usyk, you'd say number 1 and 2. Is this 3 versus 4?
Yes.
Yeah, I think on body of work it is. I think.
Then you can argue either Joe Parker, Bakoli, Caballero at 5, but that's it.
I think Dubois' Hrgovic win is definitely cemented him up there for me.
Dubois' last 2 wins and my factor in this fight that is giving me a bit of credence towards Dubois is Don Charles. Look at what Don Charles has done in those 2 fights.
Kieran Farrell too.
Yeah, well, 3 fights, because Don Charles was in his corner against Usyk. Okay, he lost against Usyk, but he had a go against Usyk. He landed that low blow that had Usyk rolling around for 3 minutes. Can argue that to you blue in the face. People feel free to get involved in the comments on that. That was a good performance from Dubois.
That should take us through till fight night.
He then went in against Miller, had to overcome some rocky moments and stopped him with 13 seconds left in a heavyweight fight. That's not given enough credit. He stopped a heavyweight in the last 20 seconds of a fight. I'm sure there might be another example, but I can't think of another example of that happening, especially at that weight class. And then after 2 rounds against Hrgovic, where his face was being used as a pinball machine, he turned it around and stopped him in 7. Okay, the cuts came from elbows and headbutts rather than punches, but he was still
landing. That ending, yeah.
He was still landing cleanly. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to win that fight, But the cuts, he put a body of work in, and that is Don Charles. Don Charles has become like a second dad to him. We all love
Kieran Farrell. Don't forget Kieran Farrell.
Yeah, never forget Kieran Farrell.
Yeah,
we all love Dubois. We all love Dubois seeing him there in his waistcoat banging on the ring apron, as we've seen in the last few fights.
He needs a stylist, man. He needs a stylist.
He does.
He needs some cufflinks, and he needs to stop borrowing his granddad's suits.
He needs some swagger, man. He's got no swagger.
He needs to talk to Caroline.
I don't think he's got it. He's just a straight boxing bod. He's not interested, is he? But you can tell.
Do you know what I rate that about him, though?
He don't give a shit about it. He wears his dad's suits, and he's got zero style, but he can fight. So,
but he can fight like fuck. So who cares?
Yeah, I won't tell him it to his face. You told me flip then.
No, but yeah, back to the point I was making. I think Don Charles and Kieran Farrell have made a massive difference to Dubois, even more so than what McGuigan and Pritchard went there. Yes, his dad. He seems to be his dad's allowed back into the camp a bit more again. We didn't see that with McGuigan. Not going to pass any comment on what that reason for that may have been, but his dad's back involved again. We know Daniel goes to his dad for advice on everything and looks to him.
I think he still lives at home, if I'm honest. I think they all still.
I've seen a video today. Mate, I've seen the video today.
Yeah, he's still living from the mean streets of a ghetto, has he? I think he's come from a leafy suburb. I mean, not that what I mean is, I think he's in like a bubble. I don't think he goes out much. I don't think he's partying. You never see him out in clubs, and I think he's just boxing, picking horrible suits and boxing.
Mate, if you want to talk about something horrible Dubois wearing, in the video that came out today, Queensbury on YouTube, he's wearing these skin tight Adidas leggings while he's there. He's there with his cup of coffee in his hand. It's
awful.
Daniel Dubois, stylist. If you're watching the No Punches Pulled show tonight, I do apologize. I apologize for the vulgar words of my co-host.
It's a Dubois thing. I've seen Caroline wearing some. Yeah.
I saw Caroline was at York Hall the other Friday night when I was there, and it's fair to say that family isn't.
We got two style icons up here. Fashion Nova will be knocking on for a sponsor.
Mate, an oversized tee and a baseball cap backwards.
I'm going to cover some comments before we get into breaking down the fight. Jams, we'll come back to this one later. You said, I know it's not on the agenda, but what do you think about Wilder staying in the game? Yeah, I'll make a note of that, Jam. We'll have a chat about that. Potential against Coley. Neutral said Jams has the crystal ball. Big up Neutral. I believe you've got the live party you've got on Saturday night. I think it's in East London. I read earlier, so I hope that goes well for you and the guys, mate. Big up. Jams said the worry about Dubois that it took Frank Warren to call his dad from the crowd to make. Yeah, that was in the Miller fight, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. That was a strange one. 2-1 to Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk scored. Jam says. Big up Dan Evans for joining us as always. Dan, hope you well, mate.
Old news, that kid.
I think
old news, is it? Am I a bit behind? Wayne said last fight DDD took a lot of punches in his eventual win. AJ catches him like that, and the big Croatian did. I think AJ hits hard. Yeah, he's going to be open.
Yeah, but they're not stupid. He's not going to be there.
They'll be drilling that. They'll be drilling that like crazy. That's my thoughts. I'm going to get into it. Then we'll get our thoughts on the breakdown of the fight, because that's my. Thanks for bringing that up, Wayne. That's my exact thoughts on it. All I'm seeing online is, if AJ hits him with what Hrgovic hits him with, then it's game over. It's going to be too easy. Do you really think that the whole Dubois camp, they're not drilling, staying away from that AJ right hand
like that?
Yeah,
but what about what's coming back? What people don't realise is, they're forgetting about is Dubois hits just as possibly harder than AJ.
Yeah, I think the speed is with AJ. I think they're probably equally as powerful, but AJ has the speed. But yeah, I think I just don't see the fight going like that. I'd be surprised if AJ just knocked him out in a couple of rounds. I genuinely think AJ's going to be in some trouble at some point during this fight. I do. I think AJ stops him late, but I genuinely think that Dubois could have him on the floor at some point in this fight. I think Dubois is going to get completely overawed by the crowd, and I think he's going to fight recklessly. And I think it might actually help him at points in the fight. But I do believe AJ will get it done late. But just to write Dubois off like so many people have done, I think I would be surprised, and I think Dubois commands a bit more respect for his last few performances. To be honest,
absolutely bang on the money. I've said similar myself. Daniel Dubois is an absolute live dog in this fight, regardless of what happens. He's alive.
Sorry.
Mr. Neutral's just.
I thought you were laughing at me, boys. I wondered what I was doing.
Well, I wasn't even laughing. I was laughing at you. That was a cracking comment.
Right, what was I saying? Daniel Dubois is a much more live dog in this fight now than he was 18 months, 2 years ago. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody's saying Daniel Dubois is now a world beater. That's not what we're saying here. What we're saying here is he is competitive in this fight, and he doesn't deserve to be dismissed as only having a puncher's chance. Now, on the other side of that coin, for me, Anthony Joshua on the Ben Davidson. This is, I will go on record as saying, for me, the most spiteful version of AJ we've ever seen. I don't care what he's doing to Journeyman and Binman and even Charles Martin on his way up. This is now the most spiteful version we've seen of Anthony Joshua. He's hitting through people again. He's not just landing. I still don't think he would beat Usyk if he fought Usyk again. I think if they fought again, that would
boxed
tell me this, Liam. So this is my next question to you. Jermaine Franklin, Robert Helenius, Otto Wallin, Francis Ngannou. They're his last 4 fights since beating Usyk. Is it AJ's now the second coming again? You know, this is his first acid test. This is his first acid test since Usyk 2.
This is 100%. This is his biggest test since Usyk 2. He's been well managed and well manufactured these last. Well, it's been 2 years since he's already fought twice. It's been 2 years since he's come back now. He's been well managed and well manufactured. But if we're talking about Dubois being really confident off the back of 2 fights, back end of last year and earlier this year, stoppages and wins, you can also say the same for Anthony Joshua. It doesn't matter that the last one was Francis Ngannou. That sort of knockout will have done wonders for him because he's not done that to a fighter in a relatively substantial period of time.
Yeah.
There's still levels to this game, and he is still, for me, if Fury and Usyk carry on after their rematch, he'll still be below them for me. And I'm a massive Anthony.
Oh, Jam, stop it. He's got the dog in him. He's from Watford, mate. He's got the dog back in him. He's never had the dog in him. He's from Watford. Bloody hell. It does my head in when you go on about this.
I've been waiting for this
bad boy persona about Joshua. He got caught with a couple of.
Be prepared for some AJ hate from the chat here, guys. Jay's Fight Talks here.
I'm not a hater of AJ. I just don't like him. I've had a couple of personal interactions with him, and he mugged me and my son off. So for that, done with me. But in terms of boxing, yeah, it's great what he's done for British boxing. He's iconic. The housewives love him. The casuals love him.
My missus loves him.
He hasn't boxed anyone in the last few years, right? Yeah, he's knocking people out with spite. He's boxed at Francis and you know, Wallin and all them. But
Wallin was a good performance.
It was all right. But like you said, Sam, this is the acid test for him. But this about having the dog back in him. He's never had the dog in him. He's from Watford.
I'm a massive Anthony Joshua fan. Me starting to get into boxing initially coincided with AJ turning over. So I followed his story. He deserved to lose both fights against Usyk. I'm not that much of an AJ fanboy to make an argument.
And the Olympic final.
Yeah, and he was lucky in the Olympic final. I agree with you. That was a London Olympics home decision, 100%.
I'm only playing, Jams. I'm only playing.
But before Jay gets too personal, people here, let's move it back on. This is a fantastic fight for British boxing. As another comment here, regardless of what happens, we have a British world champion. Regardless of all our opinions here that the belt should be in Saudi.
I'm going to stop bringing comments up for a while, but I'm just laughing at the chat non-stop here. There's about 8 different storylines going on in the chat here. It's distracting me.
Dan, I'll say this. I
want to know what Rod said. What did Rod say?
Dan, I'll say this. If the first Usyk fight went 30 seconds longer, I think he was getting stopped. He was out on his feet. He did not get off his stool, did he?
He was hurt bad at the end of the first fight.
Hey, I want to try and finish a point before either Jay offends someone or the chat goes off again. I think Anthony Joshua will have to overcome adversity in this fight. I think we may see him dropped. I think Dubois will stick it on him early and may drop him. What happens after that?
We'll see if he's got the dog back.
Just to annoy you, then we'll see if he's got the dog, if he's got a set of cojones on him to come back.
Dog.
Doing it.
He's from Watford, Liam.
I never knew that, mate. I thought he was from Hackney or something. Jesus. Anyway,
the ghetto, the tough, the mean streets of Watford.
He's going to have to overcome adversity. He may get dropped. It wouldn't surprise me to see Josh go down early.
I would love to see that, and I don't mean that in. I don't mean it how it sounds. I'd like to see him push to the limit, come through it, get knocked down, have to really dig deep. I would have a little bit more respect for him then. I'd like to see that because I'm not. I can't hate on what he's done for boxing. Personally, as a human, I've got no time for him. But as a boxer, I've got the utmost. I've watched him live 5 or 6 times. He's amazing to watch live. You know, his skill set's really good. I do believe he's been well managed, but that's Eddie Hearn's job. Well, he's not going to put him in life and death wars. He wants to give him layups, and he got a few. I've been ringside for a few of them. I'd love to see him tested. I really would. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Dubois knock his neck in, but I would like to see him tested as a neutral, if I can be seen as a neutral.
I think the thing to say here is
sorry, Jam's having to explain what's old.
This chat's brilliant. I might just sit in silence and just let the chat go.
It means
I've got tears in my eyes that started earlier on, and they haven't left me.
We don't mean he goes dogging. He's got the dog in him.
Yeah. Right. Is there anyone in the chat picking Daniel Dubois to beat Anthony Joshua? That's what I want to know. I've seen a few Morgan said round 8 for Joshua. Most people are picking AJ that I've seen. I know Jay's Fight Talk's back in the Daniel Dubois win. There's too many comments coming in. Pull them all up on the screen, but make yourself.
Next.
Jay's got a personal beef with AJ. There's not many people Jay's not got a personal beef with.
I've got a personal beef with everyone.
I'll say this about Daniel Dubois.
I respect him as a fighter, and if we're gonna go on what I know about boxing, then he beats Dubois. He beats Dubois, but I'm picking Dubois to pull off a shock.
I'll say this about Daniel Dubois: if he chooses to come out on the back foot and allow AJ to set a pace and allow AJ to dominate with his jab and get his combinations flowing, he has next to no chance to me. Dubois has to come out and win the front of the battle. He has to win the battle of the jab. He has to get AJ's respect.
I don't think he'll win a boxing match. He won't win I don't think he'll win a boxing match.
In the same way that he got the respect of Miller and Hrgovic inside 3 rounds, he has to get AJ's respect. Yeah. If not, AJ will dominate the front foot battle. I'd like to think he'll go for a stoppage, but he could also do similar to what he done against Joseph Parker when he unified against him. Use his boxing IQ, limited that it may be, to drown an opponent that isn't at his level when it comes to that sort of fight. Dubois needs to make it a front foot brawl and a shootout, and then it's a case of, right, who lands first? Whose chin can stand up? That's the type of fight it needs to be for him.
Got a question for you, Liam. Sorry, Jabbit said AJ in 6. Dan said Dubois has a great chin, but he'll quit if he gets overwhelmed. Wayne's gone for DDD inside 5. He's in Jay's camp here. Love it. On the line. Liam, I want to ask you a question. Simon Jordan said about AJ that if he gets hit again like he did against, he'll get PTSD from the Andy Ruiz fight. Do you think that's a factor?
The robot will malfunction.
There's a possibility of it, but it's not like it was his last fight. It's not like it was last year. This is going back to 2019 now. Yeah. I believe it is a slightly further along in his development version of Anthony Joshua. So, no, I don't think it will. There is a chance it could happen, but it's too much water under the bridge. Ben Davidson's done too much for him. He's had his chin cracked by Usyk and other fighters along the journey. Pulev even cracked his chin at one point in that fight. So I don't think it's as much of a factor as Simon Jordan's making out. I'm about to go offline, so I need to grab my charger, boys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, all good. Neutral's right here, Jay. That jab of Dubois is a weapon, isn't it? Everything works off that jab.
And I think that's where Kieran Farrell's joining the camp is going to help. He's got him throwing his jab a lot faster, and he's throwing from different angles. And I think we're going to see a completely different... Well, we've seen a sort of an evolution of him, haven't we, in his past 2 or 3 fights? I mean, not many people picked him to beat Miller. Nobody picked him to beat Hrgovic. Nobody. I don't even think Frank Warren thought he was going to beat Hrgovic, if I'm honest. But he needed to make the fight, didn't he? And yeah, he was getting peppered for a bit, but, you know, you jump in a swimming pool, you're going to get wet. boxers expect to get smacked in the face. It's how they react. And I will be interested to see how both fighters react, if they get hit clean. Because I think they've both had times where I don't believe he should be called a quitter, Dubois, for staying down against Joe Joyce. If anyone's had any kind of broken eye socket or orbital bone, I believe it's, hella painful. No one called Kell Brook a quitter. No one called Billy Joe. Well, they did call Billy Joe Saunders, not me. But what I'm saying is, and AJ did the same. I was talking to my uncle tonight he said something similar about, well, AJ's improved over that. And I said, well, he hasn't really boxed anyone. And when he boxed Ruiz, I saw something in him that night when he got himself out of there without actually saying he wanted out of there.
Yep. The way he just stood there sort of looking at his corner.
He turned his back. He turned around. He didn't want to say, I've had enough, or spit his gummy out. So he turned his back and played the old arm, a bit, don't know what's going on.
Where am I?
What we're going on. So for me, it's an interesting fight. I think it's about who lands first and how the other reacts have to get in court first. I think the fight will go from there. I think if one of them hurts the other one, I think they then may pull away. Luca, I totally agree.
I totally agree. It can't not deliver, though, can it? The clash of styles is too. No, the clash of styles is too. Someone's getting chinned. There's no way. It's not happening. Jams has said, we've seen the Ruiz in the States saying got that dog in him. Absolutely.
We stopped saying that dog because this is
it's a lot of dog talk here. Dan said Dubois has a better chin, no doubt about it, but I'm worried what happens when he gets hit flush.
On what basis, Dan? I don't know where you get that from.
His chin hasn't been tested as much by the same caliber of opponent as AJ.
Do you know what? I think AJ and Dubois both have solid chins.
Yeah, I do.
I honestly do. I think Dubois' chin's definitely held up against Miller and Hrgovic.
It held up against Joyce, to be fair.
Well, yeah, it did. Yeah.
That went really. He didn't get hurt badly and stunned by a punch to the jaw or the chin.
Rod said Dubois, hopefully.
They both got solid chins.
If AJ loses to DDD, do you think he has to be it for AJ? No, I think the Fury fight's still there. The Fury fight's still there.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Turkey's already said for the first quarter of 2025 he wants to. I think he'll make it next year.
I don't think Fury will take it. He don't need the dough. I think he's just going to do one after this.
I think it's difficult with AJ. I think he wants to fight Fury. I think we do see the Fury fight, even if they both lose their fights this weekend in December, respectively, for them. But how much longer we're going to see him in boxing is another question. Depends what his motivation is now, because he's got more than enough money, so you can't say that he still needs the financial rewards at this point. So is he fighting for legacy? Is he fighting for the fact that he never won the WBC belt, so he was never undisputed? If he's driven by belts and trying to become undisputed, then I think we see AJ for another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But if he's not driven by that, I think he could disappear in the next 2 years. And that is when British boxing will probably properly start to appreciate from the fans' point of view what he's actually done for British boxing. Because, okay, we got Froch Groves, but the rise of AJ and how he went about business being carefully managed by Eddie Hearn, etc., brought back stadium fights on a regular basis to the UK. This is his third time doing Wembley. He's done the Principality in Cardiff 3 times. He's done Spurs. Before that, we've barely seen any stadium fights in a good 20, 30 years. You were going 4 or 5 years between them. So he's left a lasting legacy on British boxing, and it's in a better place for him. I just hope he goes out fulfilled with what he wants to have achieved in the game he does achieve, and he doesn't have any resentment towards it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Dan said, I think AJ wins and Usyk beats Fury again. Let's see AJ versus Fury at Wembley. Yeah, ginormous. Will be the biggest fight in recent times for sure. Jabit said Dubois' confidence is sky high. That fight with Usyk, best thing to happen to him. Absolutely got momentum behind him. He's got to stick.
Give me 1 second, boys. I just need to throw my dog outside.
No, you're all right. It's the only way you can win, Jabs. That's a fact. Jams have Riddick Bo bin the belts to avoid fighting Lennox. Yes. AJ's dance today is a brilliant combination puncher. I can see a hook to the head, then a right uppercut being the knockout punch. Yeah, that was similar combo. I think the one that he threw against Ruiz when he dropped him before Ruiz stung him.
When someone hurt, his combinations to finish someone are right up there across boxing. His combinations when he has an opponent hurt and ready to go are right up there for me. He is a clinical finisher when he has an opponent in that position. You can't. I don't even think Jay will take that away from AJ. His killer instincts when he has an opponent hurt.
He's a good finisher. He is a good finisher, definitely. 90K versus Wembley was something that will never be forgotten yet. Brilliant.
No, he's not.
You struck
the Usyk win. I think Fury will bow out and lay the gloves off. Yet AJ's some other story. What we never know.
When he smells blood, there's not many like him.
No, and that's what I think we are going to see in this fight.
I feel sick now saying that.
Yeah, well, I think I know, Liam. You can't say. I think AJ is going to stop Dubois late after having to walk through the fire. I genuinely think Daniel Dubois is a factor in this fight. It wouldn't surprise me if he won. I think he's getting criminally wrote off by a lot of people. I may look silly by saying that when AJ blows him out in a couple of rounds, but that's genuinely just how I see it. Jay.
Yeah, I know I've picked Dubois, but I've got personal. I think it's clouded my judgment. AJ should win this fight, really. If AJ should win the fight, it should probably go to about 8 rounds, and then AJ should have too much for him if he sort of wobbles him. As you've said, he's got that killer instinct, and he just does not let him off the hook. But I've picked Dubois. I'm going to stick with my original pick. I'm going to go for rounds 3 to 6. Dubois stoppage.
Love it. Jams and Jay's got real beef with AJ Hurst to give.
No, I haven't. I've just given him some props. I don't know what you mean.
You're giving him
listen, I'll tell you off camera why I've got a beef with him, and you will understand. It's not me. It's what he did to my son. Do you know? It's. I've had a couple of interactions with him. I'm not going to broadcast it on here, but there's a reason behind it. But I'm a grown up. I can step aside, and I've just said AJ should win this fight based on skill set and experience. But I've picked Dubois because I'm petty like that. And I'm childish like that.
Tell you what we're going to do then for the last portion of the show. That's a good hour and 20 minutes on AJ Dubois on the card. We'll move to Canelo. I'm not going to talk about the whole card because, let's be fair, it wasn't worth talking about. We'll talk about Canelo Berlanga, and then we'll cover off any news topics. As always, everyone in the chat, thanks for joining us, and get your topics over, and we'll have a little waffle about it. But we'll just cover Canelo Berlanga quickly. Obviously, the three of us watched it live at the time, very tiredly, but we did. Canelo, we all thought he'd stop Berlanga. The three of us, obviously, he didn't. He won a similar fight to, I guess, Munguia, where he dropped Berlanga early, but never really looked in any trouble or anything like that. Berlanga got on the mic afterwards, said it was great to be in there with my hero, and rinse and repeat kind of stuff. What happens for Canelo now? There's 2 fights out there for him. For me, Dimitri Bivol and David Benavidez. I don't like in Billy Pacheco, people like that. Yarrow would take the fights. I don't think they're too bad. I don't want to see him fight Shiskin or William Skull, to be honest with you. I'm getting a little bit over Canelo in these fights, if I'm being honest.
Boring, isn't it now? It's boring. It's boring. We want to see him in proper fights. He's making all the right noises post-fight. Oh, I want to fight Bivol, and he's never going to fight Bivol. I don't believe he'll fight him again. I think he'll do another. They'll drag somebody out of the doldrums. Maybe maybe Eubank Jr.
Oh, they can get in the bin with that, to be honest.
Jams, I disagree with you. I was not impressed with Canelo. I think he made an hard night's work of it, to be honest.
Here's my thing, boys. He's now done Charlo, Munguia, Berlanga as his last 3 fights.
Yeah.
If we put together a compilation of different moments of all them 3 fights, you can make it look like the same fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, dropped him once and then won the decision.
Rounds now of the same fight without. It was frustrating, and I've watched it back more awake. So it's not just the fact he was 5 a.m. and I was a little bit tired. I've watched it back with a sandwich and during the day, and I feel exactly the same about it. Canelo the conversation now has to be had about Canelo losing a step. that run, I mentioned last week about the run for him becoming undisputed at 168. What did that actually take out of him? Are we now seeing the effects of that run? Perhaps we are. Perhaps that run coupled with the Bivol schooling, which Bivol will do again, I agree with you, Jams. Perhaps we're now seeing the effects of it. Because he's taken on, and maybe that is why he's so happy.
Really obvious to see is the way the fights he's taken since the Bivol fight. He took a completely different route in his career. He's taken the least risk fights right now. And I'm not hating Canelo. I love him. His body works amazing. His activity is great. But there's no doubt about it that he's taken a different path since that Dimitri Bivol fight.
I think exactly.
Sorry, go
on. My point being, the best way I can explain this is sandwiched in between the run where he won all the belts, he decided to take on his mandatory for the WBC in Yildirim, didn't he? The Turkish fighter. You'd put Yildirim maybe at the bottom end, but in the same sort of bracket as his last 3 fights he's had. He took care of Yildirim inside 2 rounds. Nearly had him out of there at the end of the first and then put him away at the start of the next round. That's kind of what we've expected to see from Canelo in each of these 3 fights. And even when he knocks Berlanga down on Saturday night, I don't remember thinking in the rest of that rounds or even the next round, he's going to finish him here. The finish is coming. It was all right, back to the jab, back to landing combinations, but never having that killer instinct. He knows what he's doing picking these opponents, and I will stand by what I said last week. Because he has the governing bodies in his back pocket, bar the IBF, we've spoken about enough tonight, he knows he's going to keep his belts. He will realistically, the only way Canelo loses his belts now is by saying he's retiring. Because the governing bodies love the 3%, they love to pound notes. Canelo.
We be crooks.
Yeah,
I think
that's what it is, mate.
I think that Bivol took something from Canelo within himself. I think he finally realised that his air of invincibility had gone. And I mean within himself, not public perceptions. And I think he learned a harsh lesson that night. I think beating Kovalev gave him a false understanding of what it was to box at 175.
Bivol was perceived as the weak champion at the time. A lot of people forget.
Listen,
Bivol was unknown.
We saw Bivol box Craig Richards. Craig Richards pushed him close.
Yes.
And we all made the same mistake, thinking Canelo's catching him at the right time. He's only boxed once in XXXX. He beat Kovalev. He stopped Kovalev. He's this machine and blah, 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 blah. And what did we get? Bivol made it look easy. Made it look absolutely easy. And I think that did something to Canelo's ego. I think within himself, he thought, hold on a minute.
It checked him, didn't it? It massively
checked him. Put him back in check. Now, I'm not saying he's arrogant because he's not. Canelo seems to be, a very nice guy. It can be a shit when against his opponents and become a bit spiteful, but it's always after they say something disrespectful to him. He's always very respectful.
Yeah.
I just think that he dismissed Bivol in his own head, lost, and realised, there are guys out there that can beat me. Maybe 175 is a bit much. Because let's be real, he made every excuse in the book not to fight Benavidez. I would have had more about him. I swear I'd have had more respect for him because we know Canelo sits and worries about Jay's Fight Talk having respect for him. But I would have had more respect.
Keeps him up at night.
I just want to put it out there so he can get a decent night's kit. But I think I would have personally had a bit more respect for him if he'd have just come out and said, look, I think 175 is too much for me. I'm a career bloody welterweight, 154, 160. I think 175 is too big for me. I'll either fight you at 170 catch weight or I'm staying at 168. And if you want to fight me, come to 168. 168 is my division. I'm the man at 168. I'll fight anyone. And I think that would have been more accepted, but he's made excuse after excuse. And now it's starting to become embarrassing because he's boxed Berlanga that nobody wanted to see that fight. Nobody wanted to see it. Only Team Berlanga wanted to see that fight. And Canelo, because Canelo knew that it was basically a scripted fight. I don't mean that like it was fixed. I meant we knew what was going to happen. We all sat and watched it together live, and not one of us was surprised. Maybe that Berlanga got up when he got knocked down.
The whole card went to script. Every single fight on that card went to script.
Well, it did for us. Unfortunately, our co-host up there picked Danny Garcia to shock the world.
I've done that for views and it worked. Look at the views I got last week. So the views are there.
Marketing, clever marketing, my mate. You're using that degree, lad.
I am, lad.
I think that I think that Canelo has backed himself into a corner now because he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to go now. So unless they pull Chris Bloody Eubank Jr. out of a hat, then he's got to fight Benavidez or
I think Canelo cares. I think he bothers him. I think all the comments bother him. So I do expect him to take a better fight next. But again, we'll see. I'm just going to catch up, Liam, with the comments, and I'll come to you.
I want to pick up on one of these comments to go ahead.
Yeah, perfect. So Dan said Canelo versus Benavidez. Well, it's the only fight I want to see. Yeah. Canelo will go Bivol and Bud Crawford is my take here. Yeah, do you know what? Bud's a fight that, do you know what? Maybe he'll take that. He might be goaded into taking that. Got a feeling he'll link up with Eddie once again. Yeah, he will. On a level playing field, he'll always use Eddie, I think, Pat, definitely. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if they go Canelo Crawford. Dan's echoed what Pat said. Canelo's lost his ability to finish fighters. Yeah, he really has. He can drop them, but the actual instinct to finish them. Bivol or Eubanks, it could be Eubank, Wayne. I really hope it's not. Jam said, I doubt it would be Benavidez. Too much disrespect on Canelo's picking off these undefeated fighters. We'd like to see David Morrell. Yeah, I think he's moved up to lighter heavy, Jam, but, again, another one. Jam said about his last stoppage win was Plant 2021. Wayne said legacy or cash.
On the end of the run we were talking about, where he was, before he was knocked back down a peg by Bivol, this was part of the incredible run where he won all the belts in 11 months. It's, we're sitting here talking about Canelo now, and we're struggling to think of opponents. And he's kind of brought this upon himself because, let's be honest, if he's schooled and knocked out Charlo, Munguia, and Berlanga like he should have done, then we want to see him in with Bivol. Yeah, we want to see Crawford come up and make that monumental super fight, which isn't as big a super fight as people think. But we've watched him go through 36 rounds, rinsing and repeating, since last September, so a 12-month period. If Canelo was to retire after this fight, which he won't, I'd be gobsmacked if he does, would I be too upset that I'm not going to have to be awake at 5 a.m. watching another rinse and repeat Canelo performance?
Nope.
Being honest, no. And that's a shame because the legacy that Ginger Mexican has, from making his debut as a 15-year-old in 2005 to being in his first 12-rounder in 2008, people, that's when he first had a 12-rounder, is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But you're killing, not that he cares a jot what any of the three of us think, but he's killing his legacy to the fight fans, to the public, by what he's now doing in recent times. And we don't want to see it go on. Will we maybe be a bit more excited if it's Eubank Jr.? Yes, because he's British, and yes, because Eubank Jr. might be shut up forever. And hey, we'll all be a fan of seeing that on this sitting here. I think we've all said that in our different ways before. But it's not an attractive fight. You're not looking, oh my God, Eubank Jr., he's going to beat Canelo. He has to beat Canelo. Look, this is how he beats Canelo. No, it will be another 12 rounds. So we then go, 48 rounds of seeing the same performance from Canelo.
Yeah, it's getting stale. It really is getting stale. There's a few more comments coming in. Pat said Berlanga has a bright future in boxing. They talk about going to Puerto Rico next for him. Yeah, I think Hearn said about a Jaime Munguia fight potentially.
That'll be the first time Berlanga's ever been there. Let's I think I've been to South America more than him.
Eddie couldn't even play along with the joke. He said, Eddie was like, and it will be his first fight in Puerto Rico and the first time he's done a training camp there. And I just watched this interview going, he's just being Puerto Rican for the whole week.
It's terrible. Christian and Billy would be fun versus Cinnamon. Love that fight, Jam, definitely. Wayne, Berlanga showed a lot. He is a good fighter, actually. He's going to be in some fun fights. Joseph S., thanks for joining us. Duck Nello went 12 with Bumlanga. Mexico, this is your king. Wayne,
when did you first hear about Canelo? Genuine question. When did you first hear about Canelo?
I think Anthony Joshua should have fought Zhang. Yeah, PDD is a quitter.
Me personally, I heard about him when he first came through.
No, to that comment from Joseph, he's talking about.
He's probably heard about him 2 years ago.
Sorry, Jay. I know how long you've known about Canelo. Don't worry, that was more to that.
I thought you were talking to me. Sorry, brother.
No, my question is, how long have you heard about Canelo? Because if you know anything about what he's done for boxing and his legacy,
he's not ducking anyone.
He's not ducking at all. He's not ducking at all. Anyway, sorry, Sam, carry on.
No, you're all right. Props to Trevor McCombie. We'll talk. I don't want to talk about Lara Garcia because I still have nightmares about having to stay up and watch it. But we will talk about Trevor McCombie and Plant because we were raving about it on the watch along. It was a good fight. Jam said Good showing by McCumbee. It was a fun fight in his interviewing him. So check out that on Boxing Media Hub very soon. Big up Jams, Boxing Chat and Boxing Media Hub, interviewing Trevor McCumbee. Yeah, McCumbee, man, he coming out a go. The knockdown was a little bit controversial, but he was in there. He had a go with Caleb Plant. He was dancing. He was shaking his hips. He was giving it a little bit of a Joe Calzaghe wiggle. And, credit to him, man. He got on his big stage and he had a right go against Caleb Plant. His class showed in the end, Plant. But, for somebody who's a club fighter really coming into it, Trevor McCumbee, I'd like to see him back. I'd like to see him get that stage again because he was fun.
You can't lie. We all said it would be the fight of the night because of Plant's performance. It's essentially dismissing McCumbee because of his very padded, small hall American dinner circuit boxing records. But that fight was fun because of Trevor McCumbee as well. From the little shoulder roll to the Irish jig he done when he landed a knockdown to everything he done in between and the fight he put up. That was a fantastic performance from Trevor McCumbee. I want to see him back on a top rank or Matchroom America card. I want to see him get fights now because I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he can potentially do something. There's nothing to say.
He had a go. That's all you can ask.
Yeah, he had a go.
He had more than a go. He was in that fight for a long time.
He was in that fight. Yeah, he gassed a little bit, didn't he? But
first time at that level though.
Yeah, Jam said Jaime Munguia fights Bazinian on Friday. Yeah, we're doing a watch along on SW Fight Hub to that one in the early hours of Saturdays. We build up to. Go on, Liam.
I previewed that fight, Jam, to get on to Liam's Fight Night picks tomorrow. There is a mention of that fight as well as the else.
Big weekend watch alongs for Joshua and Jaime Munguia and Bazinian on Friday. Jam said I've known Canelo since he was 16 fighting in Mexico. He fought Matthew Hatton when he was like what, 18, 19 or something.
That was his first world title against Matthew Hatton. It was Canelo's longevity is not something you can overrule. But unfortunately, if he carries on the way he's going,
Rhodes as well, he fought, didn't
he? Yeah. If he carries on the way he's going at the moment, the conversations we'll have when Canelo retires will be, but that last 3 years of his career after he unified at 168 were really disappointing, weren't they? That run of fights we had to go through. It won't be about the body of work he's done before. And that's a real shame. That's more my point. We'll remember his legacy because we're nerds. We've all paid stupid amounts of money on pay-per-views and stayed up at all hours to watch him like we've done at the weekend. But the casual fans, all they'll see is, he ducked Berlanga. After Bivol, we never took another serious fight. And that will become too much of a rhetoric for a career that doesn't deserve it. Because Canelo should go down as one of the greatest of all time, especially in more recent years.
Yeah. He'll go down as an all-time great. Certainly Absolutely. One of the best Mexican fighters of his generation anyway, is the man. But, you've got to put him up there with the likes of Julio Cesar Chavez, Juan Manuel Marquez, Barrera. For me, he's up there. He's one of them of our generation, your generation then. I'll say.
Your generation, you're not that old. Come on.
Jam said McCumbee ran out of steam, but almost got his man. If it's butts or coconuts, we'd all have him. Yeah, not mad. Yeah, good quote from Sheldon off The Big Bang Theory. Right, we'll leave Canelo and Berlanga there. I think we'll go into some current news then for the last section of the show this week.
Do you want to pull up that most recent comment, please?
Yeah, can you just put that comment up from Joseph?
Hey, I'll let you go first, mate.
Yeah, Matthew Hatton's a bin man. So Matthew Hatton I think he was European champion when he fought Canelo. Younger brother of Ricky Hatton. Has a fantastic record. He's only boxed the best domestically, European level, and challenged for a world title. So Joseph S., I'm assuming you don't know your boxing because your comments, you're either trolling or you don't know boxing, mate. Because to call Matthew Hatton a bin man it's just disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
For me, the most disrespectful person in the world, that's saying something, mate. But no, I believe that you're way off the mark there.
If you're looking for nibbles from any of us, mate, you're not going to get it. But as Jams,
he's definitely getting it.
He fought Canelo at 23 years old.
He's getting them right now.
Mate, you got me riled up about Kakachi and Warrington, and I've just not calmed down ever since. But
I just don't think that's fair to dismiss Matthew Hatton as a.
No, Matthew Hatton was he was
just in the shadow of his brother. Well,
yeah, it wasn't world level. It was European level. He was, but you know,
Bin Man's a long way below European level.
Well, he's not world level now, Joseph, is he? Because he's my age, mate, and I'm 47. So no, at talking, I'm world level.
You're British level, aren't you, Joe?
Not at selling.
Right, anyway, we're going to move on from Magic Man Matthew Hatton. I think that was his nickname. This show's not about Matthew Hatton. No disrespect, in the great words of Jay's Fight Talk. Matthew Hatton, love you. Moving on to some news now. We're done with Joshua Dubois. We're done with Canelo versus Berlanga. A few things that have happened this week, and get involved in the chat as well, guys. Anything you want to speak about? Jam, I haven't forgot about the Deontay Wilder thing. I'll come to that shortly, but I want to start with the first thing that happened. Literally happened the day after we filmed the show last week. Shakur Stevenson out of the Joe Cordina fight on the Riyadh season card, headlined by Better Be Evan Bivol. As far as I know, there's still not been an announcement on what's happening with Joe Cordina. Is that right?
No announcement on Joe Cordina.
Yeah. See, that's unfortunate because that card now has got a lot less appealing, hasn't it, really? Shakur was a big name on that card.
It absolutely has. Regardless of our views, and we gave them on a couple of videos about the fact Cordina was fighting Shakur Stevenson. Take away from that, getting a star name like Shakur Stevenson on a Riyadh season card was a fantastic fillet for Turkey, a fantastic fillet for Matchroom. And I was looking forward to seeing Shakur perform on the Saudi stage. Really disappointing for Joe Cordina that I'm not going to say he's not going to fight on this card, but whoever he does fight on this card, I'd be very surprised if it's anywhere near the caliber of Shakur Stevenson. I can't see him getting another world title shot, say, for example. Happy to be proven wrong on that. It does weaken the cards because now you're looking at the chief support being nothing against this fight, but it's not a world title fight, being the Fabio Wardley-Fraser Clark rematch, which is a fantastic fight, but it's not really co-main on a Saudi card worthy. You've got Chris Billam-Smith fighting Poland's third best binman for a little knockarounds.
No, you can't call him a bin man.
Chris Billam-Smith?
Sorry, not Chris Billam-Smith. Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eubank Jr. I apologise, I've got confused there. It has weakened the cards. Look, it's Turkey. He could pull something out of the fire, and we could be talking next week that Joe Cordina's now got an amazing fight, but it does dampen it, doesn't it? We got an amazing main event, but you've got 11 other fights on that card, and could be a very long night, boys. That's all I will say.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was really.
Will they move Wardley and Clark up? Do you think?
I think that'll be co-main now.
Or they'll put Eubank as the chief support, won't they?
I'm not commenting on that one.
Jam said Shakur was getting $6 million for that fight. Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. Pat, yeah, we heard about that one, mate. That's brilliant news. Bam, back out November the 9th. Probably Duran Ennis as well on that card. So that should be a cracking card. What were you going to say, Jay?
No, I was just mirroring what you said. I just don't want him to put Eubank Jr. as co-main. Please, God, no. Not for me. Not for me. He's got a right hand injury, Wayne.
He's had surgery already, hasn't he?
There's a video of him sparring. One thing, he dropped to the floor after hitting a body shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a shame because, it is weaker than the Wembley card and, probably weaker than Crawford. The main event itself is, I'm fine with the card. The main event, I take no on the card to see Better Be Evan Bivol. But
I think my issue is now you've got a fantastic main event, but it's on, like I just said, it's on a 12-fight card that can make for we know the pacing of some of these shows in Saudi hasn't been the best. We've been waiting at 2 a.m. for main events UK time. It just makes it a very long night and a very tough slog to get to the ultimate goal of seeing the undisputed fight up at 175. But look, Shakur will be back. Apparently now he's going to jump straight into the Williams-Cepeda fight. You can ask your questions about why wasn't he fighting Cepeda now, whatever. Looks like if that is the next move he makes, he jumps straight into Cepeda, fantastic. I'd rather see that fight than fight Joe Cordina.
I heard that they're going to be doing a Matchroom versus Queensberry. This is probably another news talking point. 5 versus 5 that be headlined by not on the 5 versus 5, obviously, because Cepeda's a Golden Boy fighter, but similar to what they were going to do with Better Be Evan Bivol when the first 5v5 happened. I heard they're going to do that in February. So Matchroom versus Queensberry, 5 versus 5 rematch, headlined by Shakur versus Cepeda.
And sign me up for that. It's absolutely.
I love that.
That's cracking. And if it can stay on board like Bivol and Materbia failed to do, then what if you have a 5v5 like we did back in June? Imagine then after that, you still got Shakur and Zepeda to come. He can't not deliver, really. Zepeda's style will either drown Shakur and we realise that he's not at the level we think he's at, or Shakur is going to prove that he is an elite level fighter. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I think they'll go big on the 5 versus 5 in February as well. I think they'll have better fights than the first one.
Eddie's already said it's going to be bigger and better. There's going to be a few
3 a.m. last night talking about it, apparently.
Yeah, there's going to be a few more rules apparently on it in comparison to the first one. So I think they're going to put it this way: we won't see Eddie Hearn picking a fighter that he's never worked with before to captain his team this time. I think there's going to be stable.
I think Eddie will put all he's got into this one.
Eddie had a bit of a stinker, blessing in the.
No one needs to see Frank Smith in a maid's outfit again. That's all I'm saying. So Frank will be making sure he does some good matchmaking on this one, won't he?
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. It's good that we hopefully get Shakur Zepeda straight away. I just hope that his hand heals in time because there's be nothing worse than.
I don't believe he could have fought. He had surgery within 24 hours, so I don't believe he could have fought.
No, that's what I mean. He never could have fought. What I'm saying is if this has been rumoured for February against Zepeda, I hope he recovers in time because it would be a shame for that fight to be announced and fall off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
1,000,000%. Another one that's just been announced, Galal Yafai versus Sonny Edwards in Birmingham. We talked about it on last week's show, but that's some fight, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Big up Sonny Edwards, by the way. Went to Arizona and took on a huge challenge in Bam Rodriguez, returned to the scene of the crime against Adrian Curiel last time out and won, and he's straight back in with a big domestic fight against Galal Yafai. Man, he's taking them all on Sonny.
Yeah, but he's got no choice. I mean, he talks big, don't he? And Sonny's not young.
No.
Sonny's not young. So Sonny needs to keep up the momentum and the pace because he's got
limited time left.
I believe Sonny had no choice. There weren't any other fights out there for him, really. And the Yafai family and the Edwards family have got. And these have boxed each other anyway, aren't they, in the amateurs?
Yeah. Yeah, they have.
So they've got history. It's an easy sell. It's a homecoming show for Galal. And it's a springboard for Galal to move on to world level or Sonny to prove that he's still at that level. I'm not saying I think he's not, but a lot of people think that because he got stopped by Bam that he wasn't as good as they were making out. I just believe he come up against somebody that was just better than him. I believe that Sonny's world class on his day, and I'll put this now. I've said it for 2 years, and it's starting to come to fruition. We will see Charlie and Sonny fight in 2025.
Yeah.
I think there's all this fake beef. They're friends. They tried it before. They didn't get enough traction because Sonny wasn't really as known, but he's now a former world champion, and I believe this is somber. Yeah, I believe this is a somber fight. They're going to do this WWE. But that's if Sonny gets through the Galal Yafai fight. There's no guarantees that he'll win that fight. It's a great matchup.
Dan's got Galal winning by stoppage. Jan's got Sonny by points. Wayne's asked, sorry Liam, do you want to chime in on Sonny and...
Just quickly on this one, it's an absolutely fantastic fight. Brilliant to see Sonny going in there again with a big fight. Brilliant.
Risky.
Yeah, a risky fight again. Why does he need to fight Galal Yafai? There's no title on it. Why is he doing it? It's fantastic. He is. My only thing is, and this is to do with the weight division they're in, we're excited as trade people, as people that love our boxing fights. I'm not sure how it resonates with a more casual boxing audience. It's a fantastic fight, but if they don't put some big fights on the undercards with some, say, more established names, I wonder if it's going to resonate with that boxing casual audience that obviously everyone wants to hit.
By the way, can I just interject and just say that Alexander Usyk's just been arrested at an airport in Poland, and I'm not actually lying. There's video evidence of it.
So do we know what's interesting?
For what? It'll be for possession of a gun, probably.
I have no idea, but it just happened anyway.
I've just seen it, yeah.
Really? Wayne said, have we got any info on... I'll cover off the last of these comments on the Edwards thing. Jam said, if Charlie comes to a Samba and the Family Feud show, Sonny wins, they can fight one another. They will fight, I think. Wayne asked about the body snatch of Dillian White. So he fought last time out in like a hotel in Ireland, didn't he?
Against Hammer, wasn't it?
he's been detained, apparently, Dan said, yeah, so I don't know what's happening. But yes, he fought Christian Hammer, wasn't it? Yeah. There's rumours of him fighting Del Chisora. I watched an interview with Del Chisora earlier saying that he wants Jarrell Miller or Dillian White in the UK for his next fight. But again, I don't think Dillian White can fight in the UK, can he?
He's not got a, as far as I know, and happy again, anyone that knows differently in the comments, he's not been sanctioned with a British license still. They're still going through the appeals process from his ban for the test he popped up for before the AJ rematch. That fight in Ireland was a rush job, I think we said last week. It was done in a hotel on a Sunday night, no TV coverage. It was all a bit of a rush last-minute job, and then we haven't heard anything since. We haven't really heard much from Dillian himself on socials, have we? So, look, by the time Dillian comes back, he last fought Jermaine Franklin, and let's be frank, looked laboured as anything in November 2022, wasn't it? What White has left or what he can actually offer this heavyweight division, I'm not sure. And do I want to see him come back? I don't even want to see the AJ rematch anymore, if I'm being perfectly honest. If we don't see White again, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it personally.
Yeah, I'm not overly keen on White Chisora 3, if I'm being honest with you guys.
God, no.
Nah, we don't need to see that.
No chance. I'd rather see Dillian White fight somebody like Matoma or, some up and coming, some young upstart. I'd like to see him fight somebody like that. Not Chisora, man.
Well, he ruled out Johnny Fisher and he ruled out Moses Atalma early. He said he doesn't want to fight anybody up and coming. He wants to fights for the fans or something.
Well,
that is a fight for the fans. We're fans and we want to see it. Shut up, Dillian.
Dillian needs to accept that, and getting this drugs ban when he did, and the fact he lost the AJ fight and cost a lot of people involved with that fight money and disappointed a lot of fans, because a lot of fans asked for refunds because of when that happened, didn't go to see him fight Helenius. He's not going to get his demands met. If he wants to come back in and have another run at the heavyweight title, which he's not worthy of, in my opinion, he's going to have to do it the hard way. He is going to have to fight.
He's not going to get his big payday.
You're not going to get handed straight to a big fight. Eddie Hearn won't touch you. Again, I'd be very surprised. I'd be surprised if you get anywhere near this Saudi show, although they've let Big Baby Miller fight there. So, hey, who knows what Uncle Turkey will do if there's the money there. You're going to have to come back the hard way. And I actually question if Dillian even wants to do that. Does he want to have to build himself back up?
No, he wants a couple of money fights. That's why he won't fight none of the young kids, risk getting knocked out. He wants to fight bloody... don't be surprised if we don't see him fight Hrgovic or try get Zhang or Bakoli maybe. He wants a big fight. He thinks the name, which he is a name to a degree. But,
Dillian White's a name, but if I just said, if we don't see him fight again, it doesn't upset me because
no, me neither, because he's had his issues, hasn't he?
Lost to Fury, didn't really turn up in the Fury fight. Laboured against Franklin, could say fortunate on the scorecards, and then you had the opportunity to fight Joshua and you pop hot for the second time in your career. He had a 4-year ban, didn't he? Before he fought Joshua the first time and was then signed by Matchroom, he'd had, I think it was a 4-year ban down to 2, wasn't it? After 6-7-0. So you're making those mistakes and not learning from your lessons. For me, as I said about Miller, and I'm sure everyone in the comments said,
I have a conspiracy theory about that first test, but I'm not going to say
anyway. I don't believe Miller should be fighting either, and I'm now the same.
Miller's got amazing mic skills, and that's the only reason he gets brought to these fights. He can talk.
I think the fact that Dubois stopped him though will change that. I don't think he'll get the calls now.
The draw that was a victory for him, if we're honest, against Ruiz has helped his stock. It will give him another chance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look, anyway, White, if we see him again, good luck to him. And I'm sure we'll talk about it because it will be in a decent fight, but his time's been and gone for me. If he was ever going to win a title, it was that night at Wembley. I don't see him getting another opportunity now again.
No.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Pat says, perfect matchup, Sonny versus Yafai. For us boxing lovers, I think Eddie said they will put up some champions fights on that card. Yeah, I think that card will be stacked, actually. I think they'll go big for that one. They've got a few fighters to get out. I think we talked about maybe if they can rearrange Dalton Smith, I think, for that one. Wayne said Usyk in jail. Well, I have no idea what's gone on there. I'm sure we'll find out.
Video's too freak to see, isn't it? You can just see him being detained. You can't see anything else.
I'd love to see Derek knock out that PD, cheat Miller. Absolutely, Dan. Good shout. Bakoli will crush him, Wayne. You're absolutely bang on the money there, mate. He's already had had a call though, Jay, against Ruiz. Yeah, he's always getting calls.
Yeah, but the reason I forgot about that fight. Why did I forget about that fight? Because it was a forgettable, shitty fight.
Yeah. No, and unfortunately, how many fights of White's have been boring shit fights when his mouth hasn't cashed out the check he said it's going to cash out.
He's never, he's never, other than stunning AJ for a split second in their first fight, he's flattered to deceive for me as Dillian, and I rated him at one stage.
He won his British title against Ian Lewinson in one of the most forgettable British title fights I can remember in any weight division. And that's only just come back to me.
Well, that was a horrible watch. It really was. Yeah,
it was dreadful. So he's flattered to deceive. Look, to win a British title, you've got to have something about you. Don't get me wrong. He gave us the fights against Chisora. Both fights against Chisora were outstanding for what they were in their own way. But I'm sorry, 2 times he popped hot as a drugs cheat, conspiracy theories or not. I don't want to see you be given an opportunity when you've got young upcoming fighters like Moses Atama coming through that are doing
it the right way.
Yeah, it was terrible against Fury, Dan. You're right. That night against Tyson Fury, awful.
He never came out of the dressing room really. Well, he did, but metaphorically, he never turned up in the ring, did he?
Just going back to Jam's point earlier, we probably won't have too much longer to go unless anyone in the chat wants to pop up some topics. But Jam asked about Deontay Wilder, saying that he's going to keep on fighting. Malik Scott said something in the week, I think. Is that a fight Derek Chisora could do?
Possibly, yeah, but I don't want to see either of them 2 box. I think Wilder.
Nah, I know, but like if they're both shot to pieces, then
shot to bits. I mean, Wilder's never been the same since Fury won for me. He's not been the same. I think
definitely Fury 2. Yeah,
similar to I think Fury 1 just totally sent him upside down, and then he was ill prepared for Fury 2. But similar to what I said about Canelo. The air of invincibility within himself. Forget what people are saying about you. Within yourself, he never expected to get his ass handed to him like he did in the second Fury fight. The first Fury fight, he as well as the rest of us couldn't believe that Fury even got up. Wilder's shot to bits. He's been shot to bits for a while, and I think he'll either get badly hurt or we'll just see him in dog shit fights. Like
there's no point in him coming back against just nothing opposition. Like, what does that even do? I'm with Dan. Just let White and Miller fight and just let them go all after it. We know the pharmacy will be seen to before that fight.
I think the thing with Wilder, is he's in his own head still deluded enough to believe that the reason he lost that second fight with Fury is all Mark Breland's fault. We all heard the story that Mark Breland was kicked out of
his water and nonsense.
Ridiculous.
He's kicked out of the dressing room after
under a bus, and then there's Mark Breland.
Yeah, so he kicked out of the dressing room after that fight, and Wilder, probably still now 3 years removed, believes that if Breland wasn't in his corner, he would have won that second fight. Don't worry about the fact he ended up getting flattened in the third fight after giving it a fantastic go himself. But if he wants to fight again, he wants to fight again. But unfortunately, he can't throw his right hand anymore. He is scared.
Yeah, exactly. The only weapon that he's got, he can't use. So, like, what use is he?
You've got no footwork. You've got no head movement. You're a human punch bag that likes to pull with a jab if you're not throwing your right hand. I saw Malik Scott was asked, would you entertain the fight with Francis Ngannou? And Malik Scott said yes. If Francis Ngannou fights Deontay Wilder, Francis Ngannou is going to be 1-2 in boxing.
I actually think Ngannou could win that fight.
I think Ngannou will beat him.
He will be 1-2. He will be 1-2 in boxing. It would not surprise me if after Ngannou goes and wins the PFL heavyweight belt next month, we see him back in boxing, and it is Wilder. And you know what?
Who's fighting Bakuli, Jam?
Wilder. I think Ngannou's going to lose, mate.
Yeah, he could. But we'll talk about that on the MMA. Yeah. We'll confuse all the peeps. I agree with Jay. Wilder's shot to pieces. I think Derek would knock him out. Yeah. Do you know what? Chisora probably does chin him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not going to be able to deal with Chisora sitting on his chest.
Yeah, because Chisora can still pull the trigger. He looks like he's gassed after like 30 seconds.
Chisora's got 2 right hands around, but when he throws them, whoo, get ready.
Wilder fighting Bakoli, James is saying. I mean,
death.
Jeez, that's cannon fodder. That is.
He will make quicker work than he did Anderson. He'll stop Wilder in 3 rounds, max.
It's funny because if you mentioned this fight 2 or 3 years ago, we all would have been all over it. We would have said, what a fantastic test it would have been for Coley. This will show where he's at. Even I think if this fight was talked about initially after the third Fury fight, we all would have been intrigued by it. Now, no. It's actually, you're getting in a position now where you get worried every time you see Wilder step into a ring, because he's such that fighter that he had on his incredible run when he was the world champion, and even post the first Fury fight where he rematched Ortiz and fought Brazil, etc., etc. He needs to be safe from himself, and unfortunately, Malik Scott's key interest there, me, myself, and I.
Malik Scott's interested about becoming a celebrity trainer. And married the girl off Sky.
Yeah, Malik Scott's interested in Malik Scott.
Yeah,
me, myself, and I. That is the key words to Malik Scott. So he's not, unfortunately, going to have his best interest at heart. He still has JD's in the corner. I'd like to think JD's is a decent enough man that's been around.
He had all his success with JD's. He did.
Yeah. If JD has anything about him, he will make sure Wilder doesn't fight again. Personally, if he isn't just there now to keep cashing in the Wilder paychecks, that clearly still has some credence because he's been there from the beginning. I don't, it's uncomfortable. It's hearing about that fight's made me feel a bit uncomfortable because we all want to see knockouts, we all want to see thunderous fights, but we want Wilder to turn to his wife and kids, not be injured.
Malik Scott's not a trainer. Malik Scott is absolute dog shit.
There's something happened with Wilder and Malik Scott. He knocked him out with a phantom punch, and then all of a sudden they become best friends. And
they were best friends before. They were supposed to be friends before the box, weren't they? And that's why they said that he took the diving. Well, allegedly.
Does anyone remember Malik Scott fighting Luis Ortiz in Monaco, where he got knocked down 6 times and fell to the floor another 9 times in the fight and threw something like punches in the fight?
Yeah, Malik Scott is not 100%.
No.
Just not 100%. Well, take from that what you want, and I'm being as disrespectful as I can. But I think Malik Scott has been a massive thorn in Wilder's side. I think he's not helped him one bit. I think he's only in it for what he can get out of it because, ultimately he had a failed boxing career, really.
It's interesting because you think, okay, Wilder ultimately lost that third fight against Fury, and we all know the issues Fury had in the build-up with his newborn baby being in a neonatal unit of hospital and the impact that had on his training camp and stuff. But he gave it a much better go in that third fight than he did second time round. He nearly finished Fury, was it in the 5th or 6th rounds? So look, that may have just been Wilder doing Wilder things as opposed to anything Malik Scott has done.
He's right though in jams in what he's saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's just it was a weird move at the time, and now
he's give his mate a job, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's what it's saying. That's what it seems like. It really does. Yeah, it really does.
Because,
but
let's be real. I mean, are you going to take defensive expertise off your coach? You chinned him yourself, and Wilder's no Marcus.
There's no doubt about it that Deontay Wilder's regressed since that point. But yeah, we've hit the 2-hour mark, guys. I think unless anyone's got anything else to add, I think we'll maybe call it a night there. Anyone else in the chat want to say anything? I'll start by thanking everyone in the chat as always. Big up Jams.
Thank you very much, people.
Massive big up Jams, Dan Evans, Wayne, regular visitors as always, guys. Thank you. We had Joseph S. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've also had DJ Pat. We've also had Hawkan. Apologies if I'm missing anyone scoring up. Jabbit Boxing. We've had
Luca,
Rob Brown, Mr. Neutral swung by for a little while.
Even Joseph S.
We had Joseph S. Who else swung by? Rod Brown, big up Rod Brown for tuning in. I think maybe I've covered them all. How about Absolute Boxing? Jack was with us. Martina Clark as well. Big up Martina Clark. I think that's it for tonight, guys.
Too much last night.
A couple of housekeeping things for anybody who's still with us. We've got 7 of you, so I'll push a few things. I think the 2 boys on the screen with me maybe doing a little watch along to the 3 fights tomorrow. Maybe happening on Jay's Fight Talk.
Jay's Fight Talk.
I'll try and swing by if I can.
I'm unsure what time the first bet. What time first?
6:30. 6:30 for the first one, and it rolls from there. I think they're all 6-8 rounders.
I will be sat in my van on the A1 on Jay's Fight Talk doing a live watch along with my regular co-host up there, Liam. Looking forward to it. There's 3 decent fights, to be fair.
To be fair, I'm excited. Chris Congo and Cameron Vong, I'm excited to see them both. I believe they're chin-ups for them both before they move into, well, hopefully the Marku rematch for Congo. Jordan Flynn finally for Cameron Vong, you would hope, potentially on the Sonny Edwards card. So, but look, it's just good to get boxing. We're happy to talk about boxing anyway, to have some fights Wednesday evening. Tickets are free as well. So if you are down in London, tickets for that are free. So get yourself.
Oh, easy. Is he after the job him? Make sure you support Matchroom, guys.
Nothing to do with that, mate. Just if you're in London.
Matchroom FC up there, is it? Eddie, just in case you're subscribing, you're watching the No Punches.
Just in case you want to give us some tickets and some passes,
Big up the Swedish brothers. Jam says he said he'll be there. Jay supporting. Jam will be there for 6:30, 7 p.m. start. So that'll be tomorrow night. Friday we'll probably have some form of reaction going on for the weigh-ins of Joshua Dubois. We'll have a look at the weights and see what that is. That'll be at some point on Friday. We'll be live for just the main event of Jaime Munguia against Eric Bazinian. That'll be in the early hours of Saturday morning. And then we will be Liam, unfortunately, is busy, aren't you, on Saturday? You can't make the watch along. Myself and Jay will be doing undercard watch along, and then we'll let Liam Gallagher have his moment, and then we'll go live watch along for the main event also. Liam Tully, don't forget Liam's Fight Night picks. That'll be out around lunchtime tomorrow, Liam.
Around lunchtime tomorrow by 1 o'clock it'll be out.
Nice. Yes, Jams has said he'll be looking out for that one. So yeah, Liam's Fight Night picks, episode number 2. That'll be centered around Joshua Dubois, obviously. Don't forget to follow at Liam_Tully9 on X, and obviously don't forget to subscribe to the main man, Jay's Fight Talk YouTube channel, where you can find the watch along tomorrow, and obviously at Jay's Fight Talk on X. And thank you. Cheers, DJ Pat. Really appreciate that, guys. There'll be an announcement coming also on SW Fight Hub in the next day or two. So keep your eyes pinned for that, guys. Something that I'm excited to share. It may or may not be in relation to this podcast, but I will announce that when the time is ready. But I'm hoping to be good to go on that for tomorrow. But yeah, I'll keep everyone in the loop for that. Any closing comments, guys?
Just thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for interacting. Follow my co-hosts. Follow us all. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you again very soon. Thank you.
Echo what Jay's just said. Cheers for all the interaction, all the comments. You've had a good laugh again tonight. Follow my co-hosts. Look out for Liam's Fight Night picks dropping on STX tomorrow lunchtime, and we'll see you tomorrow for the free undercard fight, for the free fights on the open workout. Thank you very much.
See you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Wayne. Jams Boxing Chat, as always. Big up to yourselves, everybody. That was episode 5 of the No Punches Pulled show. We will see you next week, where we'll be looking ahead to Michaela Meyer, I think, is fighting on Friday night. We also have Baumgardner versus Delphine Pursoon. Remind me what else is on, Liam?
You've got
Harper Dixon.
Terry Harper, and you've got Thomas Assomba, Charlie Edwards. There's plenty next week for us to get stuck into.
Plenty of fights to get stuck into next week. We haven't decided yet. Sorry, mate.
Said the fights don't stop just after this week.
Don't stop. Yeah, they keep rolling on. Yeah, we'll let you know in due course what time we'll be live by. But thanks very much, everybody. Have a great evening.